I remember Bill saying a few weeks ago that Hamilton was much improved. Nevertheless, they are. They've won 5 of their last 6. To what do we attribute that?
Well, Pat, I think it's quite simply the play of quarterback Ken Hobart. He's really been a guy that's been a pleasant surprise in Hamilton. He's thrown 18 touchdown passes on the year. The ball is not always a perfect spiral, but he gets the job done. He's 3rd in the league in rushing, so that tells me that he's the kind of guy that will do anything he can to help this ball club win, and he's been a kind of an inspiration for the other players.
Let's talk about the Calgary Stampeders. Everybody says, you know, the final game when you're out of it, you're playing for your job next year. I don't buy that. I think they just want to get this thing over with and go home.
Well, you know, I kind of agree with you. Guys like Bob Poley, Dave Kurtzinger, guys who've been around for a long time, you know, they want to do 2 things. Get that horrible season over with and stay healthy tonight, not get injured in the last game. But for a young quarterback like Rick Johnson, it's a chance to show Coach Bud Riley and General Manager Earl Lunsford really that he belongs as a CFL quarterback. So from that standpoint, for the young guys, there are some things that they can do tonight.
Let me ask you this. Is Hamilton in the class of BC, Winnipeg, and Edmonton?
Well, I don't think they are offensively, Pat. The statistics just bear that out. But defensively, they've played well all year. They set an interception record this year in the CFL. So defensively, yes, I think they can play with anybody. Offensively, I'm not so sure.
The last time the Hamilton Ticats finished on top of the Eastern Conference, this man played with them. That was 1981. We'll see if they can do it again tonight in a moment.
This CFL telecast is brought to you by Carling O'Keefe Sports, bringing the sports world home to you.
The start of this game with all the rainwear in the world, because despite the fact that it is not too cool as we reported, it is wet, but there are a lot of hardy football souls, and football interest is certainly returning to the Steel City. It's returning because the Tiger Cats are playing so well. And now our national anthem. Jake Ireland is the referee along with the rest of his officials for this ball game. You may have noticed, by the way, that the fans, not all of them, were standing for the national anthem, and the reason was the Gremlins got into the public address system, and so it was not working. Well, let's hope they get it working for the start of play so they can let them know what is happening on the field. But even if they can't, these 2 gentlemen will keep you fully informed. So Pat and Leaf, go to it.
Thank you, Bill. A very important game for the Hamilton Ticats, and the Montreal Concords are waiting at home because they want to know where they stand. If Hamilton wins tonight, the Ticats take over first place. They cannot be dislodged. If they lose, Montreal could do the same thing tomorrow against Edmonton. And so the opening kickoff will go to Mel Jenkins, number 28. And Jenkins is out over the 30 to about the 34-yard line. Howard Fields was down quickly to make the stop. Rick Johnson starts at quarterback. Hasn't been overly impressive. As a matter of fact, thrown 13 interceptions, just 8 touchdown passes. But Dwight Beverly is a fellow who has made an impression at that running back spot, number 20. There's the receiving corps. Spencer Jackson, of course, just over from Montreal. And that one was very nearly picked off by Howard Fields, number 16, and had he done so, stepping in front of Dan Runge, he'd have been in the end zone.
You know, that's something a young quarterback will learn in time. You're going to the wide side of the field, and that's a long way to throw that out pattern. I know Bud Riley probably did not call that play because Howard Fields had an excellent chance at making that interception. Rod Skillman, the change on the defensive line tonight for Hamilton. He replaces Mike Walker. Greg Gary in the lineup at that linebacking spot, and there's a secondary that, as I mentioned at the opening of the show, has 45 interceptions. That's a new CFL League record, and Paul Bennett leading the group with 12.
Les Brown, as you take a look at Dan Runge, back in the Calgary huddle, has left the field of play, and Terry Lane, number 37 from the University of Saskatchewan, is in to replace him.
Pat, the only reason he's out is a helmet problem. It was broken. He wasn't hurt.
Good news, because he's suffering from a bad shoulder. Johnson on first down was fortunate to get that pass away. Gets it over the 35 to about the 37-yard line, complete to Dan Runge. And the pickup will be about 4 or 5 yards.
Well, one of the best features of that Hamilton defense is their front four, and that time it was the pressure from number 59, Rod Skillman, that forced Rick Johnson out of that pocket and only able to complete a short pass, not nearly close enough for a first down. So the Ticats are going to get the ball back after a good defensive start.
J.T. Hayes stands inside his 25-yard line for the first punt of the ball game, and he gets it away. Driving punt. And this is Howard Fields. Fields returns it to the 45-yard line, so very quickly the Ticats are going to have excellent field position to begin their first series of downs, and that will bring out Ken Hobart and that offensive set. Hobart has completed only 49% of his passes. 18 have been for touchdowns, 13 interceptions, and a real solid core of receivers.
Yeah, you know what I like is Johnny Shepard's back in the lineup, too. He's had so many injury problems over the last couple of seasons, but I really hope he comes out tonight and has a great ball game, because he's an exciting performer.
On first down, Hobart looks, and he's going deep, looking for Stapler. Oh, and he dropped the football at the 10-yard line. Steve Stapler was in behind Larry Hogue, but on this wet night, he simply couldn't squeeze what was a perfect pass.
Well, Pat, I don't think the wet weather had anything to do to affect this ball, because Ken Hobart puts it right on the money, and Steve Stapler, the biggest thing about him is his ability to go deep. He gets in behind Larry Hogue, but simply just did not hang on to the football. Made a good adjustment. That was a good throw, and what a big play that would have been.
So it's second down, 10 yards to go, Hamilton from their 45, and Hobart does this very well. He can run, but he's not going to run on this occasion, because the Calgary Stampeders' Anthony Woodson, number 96, is there to drop him back inside the 40-yard line at about the 35. So it's a loss of close to 10.
And I think we're going to see quite a bit of this tonight. The receivers just took too long to make those out cuts because the field is so wet. They don't want to fall down, and by the time someone came open, Ken Hobart was being forced out by Woodson.
So it'll be Richie Hall and Rob Bresciani awaiting this punt from Bernie Ruoff. Oh, and he's got a beauty. This is Hall from his 26-yard line. And Richie crosses the 30 and gets to about the 34-yard line, and that's where the Stampeders will begin. It's a scoreless ball game at this point. We'll be back with the Calgary first down in a moment. The Hamilton Ticats, and you've got to be very, very happy for him, because really the man has never received the recognition he was entitled to. He came here, assumed the head coaching position 3 years ago. Last year took the team to the Grey Cup. This year has an excellent chance of finishing in first spot, so he's done everything you could ask of a head coach in his conference. It's first down, Stampeders, the ball at their 33-yard line. Johnson, at quarterback, hands the ball to Dwight Beverly, and Beverly struggles his way to the 40-yard line for a pickup of very close to 7 yards, and it showed you the determination of the former University of Illinois running back, who was finally brought down by Rod Skillman.
For those of you who haven't seen Dwight Beverly before, he was originally a 6th-round draft choice in 1984 of the Indianapolis Colts. Could not make that team. Spent some time in the USFL with the Portland Breakers, and now, of course, with the Calgary Stampeders.
So the pickup was 7. It is 2nd and 3, Calgary. Johnson going deep for Emmanuel Tolbert, and he's got him. And Tolbert is going to take it the distance for the touchdown. A big, big play. Quarterback Rick Johnson to Emmanuel Tolbert, his 66th catch of the year. Mark Streeter had him, could not hang on. 70 yards later, Tolbert is in the end zone.
Well, we're going to have a good look. Mark Streeter comes up and tries to jam him, and when you miss or don't get a good piece of him, you're in big trouble. 2nd and short, Stampeders try to go deep, and Tolbert makes the catch, gets away from him, and boy, when you're only 3-12 on the season, you sure love to start a game that way.
You know, and we were saying all the Stampeders want to do is get this game over with and go home. Well, they'd like to go home with a victory, obviously, because what a play that was. The point after by J.T. Hay is good. And the Hamilton Ticats and their supporters are shocked because the Calgary Stampeders have jumped in to a 7-0 lead. And let's take a look at how they did it.
That's good call. Play action on second and short. Little rollout. And as I say, if you're going to take the gamble of coming up and bumping the receiver, you better get a pretty good piece of him. And that time, Mark Streeter gambled and lost.
Leif, the question I'd like to ask you, I realize rarely have you ever been on a team, of course, that didn't make the playoffs and had to just play a game that meant nothing. But when you did on those rare occasions, what was the feeling of the team?
Well, Bill, I'm going to be totally honest with you. You go for statistics and things like that. Like if you're close to 1,000 yards in receiving, you know, you really want to get something like that. I mean, you want the team to win, but I think there's some personal things that each individual guy would like to accomplish tonight.
Well, nobody likes to look bad when they're out playing. It doesn't matter if you're playing handball or something just for the fun of it either, Leif.
So J.T. Hay's kickoff is driven down to the 10-yard line to Howard Fields. And Fields shows you the determination that the Ticats have been displaying these last 2 months of the season as he returns it all the way to the 50-yard line. It was a 40-yard return by Howard Fields, finally brought down by Dan Runge, number 93, but once again, the Ticats are going to start, boy, where you would really love to start every drive, right up around midfield.
Yeah, and you sure love to answer a touchdown with a good positive play to get you regrouped, and certainly that return by Howard Fields should get them going.
This is Johnny Shepard. I want to say right now, off the start, Mel Jenkins made the tackle, but Calgary looks like they're ready to battle for a playoff position. It's as though they are the people that want to win here tonight and wrap up first place because they are playing both sides of the ball with great determination.
I'll tell you, Al Bruno figures they're playing with just too much determination. He's yelling at the officials because he thinks that they came in late on the hit on Shepard.
Well, of course, you're never going to find a coach who's going to agree with anything the officials say. It's second down, 9 yards to go, Ticats. Ken Hobart gives Hamilton the big first down in Calgary territory at the 42 before Vince Goldsmith, number 78, finally brings him down. But that's a 17-yard pickup by Ken Hobart, who really has done this for the last couple of months of the season, and that's why they've been winning.
Well, he's third in the league in rushing, as we mentioned at the beginning of our telecast, and the kind of guy I like in a game because you know he's going to do anything within his power to try and get you the win, and if it's rushing with the football, he'll do it.
This is Dave Graffey, and the big fullback is inside the 40 to about the 37-yard line for a pickup of 5. Bud Riley, former head coach of the Hamilton Ticats, now the head coach of the Calgary Stampeders. How long will it be? Who knows?
Well, the word is that he probably will not be head coach next year, although I talked to him before the game, and I said, what's the status? He said, I haven't said anything, nor will I, whether I want to continue or not.
It's second down, 5 yards to go. Hobart looks, fires. Boy, did he drill that one in there, but unfortunately it wasn't close to Tony Champion. And consequently, we're going to see Bernie Rua. Forget who it was. It may have been Ben Zambiazzi, the Cookie Monster, who was saying that Hobart is built like a linebacker and runs like a running back.
Yeah, it was Zambiazzi. That's a pretty apt description, Pat, too, isn't it?
It sure is.
Fellas, he kind of reminds me of Joe Kapp. Does he do that for you? A guy that could run with the football big and strong, but always didn't put a perfect spiral on the ball.
Well, Bill saw Joe a lot more than I did, as the field goal try by Bernie Ruoff is good. And so, with 9 minutes and 10 seconds left to play in this opening quarter, both clubs are moving the ball as though they were playing at BC Place Stadium. The weather not affecting either team, as the Calgary Stampeders had a 70-yard touchdown, and now the Hamilton Ticats come right back with a scoring drive of their own that culminates in the field goal by Ruoff.
Pat, you were talking about Joe Cap, and yes, I did see a lot of them. Well, at least Joe was the kind of a guy, unlike Ruoff. Ruoff likes to fancy down a little bit, but he runs tough, but nobody ran as tough as Joe Cap. He loved to run over people. He actually loved to go up and challenge them, and there are many quarterbacks that like to do that. He was a member, by the way, of the BC Dream Team they announced a couple of weeks ago.
I think you meant Hobart as opposed to Ruoff.
Oh, sorry, I meant Hobart. Thank you, Pat.
Greg Feger, the ball carrier, is brought down by Leo Ezrins after a pickup of very close to 9 yards.
Well, and speaking of BC, congratulations to Don Matthews, Bobby Ackles, and the entire BC Lion team for their win last night in clinching first place once again.
There may have been a better receiver in the Canadian Football League than Mervyn Fernandez, but if he did play in this league, I never saw him.
Well, he's a great, great receiver.
And you saw the Prince Hal Patterson, too, lots of times, Pat, so that's high praise.
This is Beverly, and Beverly picks up the first down as he crosses the 45 to about the 48-yard line. No, you're right, Bill. Hal Patterson was a great, great receiver. But I find that Mervyn Fernandez is just so fluid. His hands are so soft, and he's graceful out there. It's first down, Calgary. Stampeders have been very impressive so far this evening. Ezrin blitzed and didn't get to the quarterback. And then Ray Alexander, the wide receiver, number 88, came back to the football. Should have caught it and didn't.
Well, the Ticats came with the full blitz to try and get a little extra pressure on Rick Johnson. They forced him to run out of the pocket, and Ray Alexander could not hang on to that football. He must have hung on to a lot of balls in his college career. He's the all-time single-game and career pass receiving leader for Florida A&M.
But because he didn't hang on to that one, it's 2nd and 10, Stampeders. The ball at their 48-yard line. Johnson's pass again through the hands of Alexander. And that will bring up a kicking situation. You know, I referred to Ben Zambiazzi as the Cookie Monster. I think we should explain it to the folks.
Well, you're having one of his samples right now, Ben. A couple of cookie stores here in Hamilton. We've given him a lot of plugs over the last year or so. But how are they, Pat, or can you talk?
They're nice. They're very nice, Lee. I'm sure you'll enjoy them if Alex Ponton and Bobby Layden leave you one.
I know I won't get one.
J.T. Hayes' punt is handled by Paul Bennett. A flag comes down. No yards will be the call against Rob Bresciani, number 11. So it's been an interesting football game to this point. 7-3. The Stampeders out in front of the Ticats. We'll be back in a moment.
Bresciani makes the tackle.
Well, as you can see, it's still raining here at Ivor Wynne Stadium in Hamilton. 7-3. The Stampeders out in front of the Ticats in an extremely important game for Hamilton. A victory, and they finish first. Should Converge be kicked from a further distance than the existing 5-yard line? That was the question last night. 58% of our phoners said yes. 42 said no. Now, would you attend the ballpark during the playoffs if the blackouts were lifted? This is a very important question that the league would like to know. There are the phone numbers for you to call. Hobart dumps it over the middle to Rocky DiPietro, and DiPietro is upended by Richie Hall, who moved in there very quickly to bring him down.
Pat, a club that is watching this game, I am sure, with great anticipation and hope, has to be the Montreal Concords, because if Calgary upsets Hamilton, it means that game we do tomorrow with Edmonton and Montreal out of the Big O could mean first place for the Concords.
You're absolutely right, Bill. We've got a long way to go, but the Stampeders do lead this one 7-3. It's 2nd down, 6 yards to go. Hamilton from their 50. Hobart throws. The catch is made for a first down by Scott Colley. Colley takes it to the Calgary 52-yard line before Kenny Miller brings him down. Number 21, the former Ottawa Rough Rider.
Scott Colley, third-year man from Brigham Young, missed all of last season with a broken leg, suffered during the preseason schedule, but I think he's a pretty good receiver, and out of that slot back position, he's got the good moves, and that time man-to-man coverage, you've got to have those good moves to get open. Hobart found them.
First down, Ticats in Calgary territory. Tony Champion tried to make the diving catch, could not do so. Mel Jenkins, 28 on the coverage.
Hamilton's finding themselves more often than they would like in second and long situations here in the first quarter, not getting much production on first down situations. So once again, Hobart faced with another 2nd and 10.
And the training staff out to attend to Dave Graffey. I've got to be honest with you, there are far more people in the stands here at Ivor Wynne Stadium than I could ever have imagined on a night like this. It's a dirty, miserable night, and I figured we'd be here with about 200 people. And it's a tribute to the Ticats that they've been able to entice this many out tonight.
Well, it's further proof. Sorry, Leaf, I was just going, maybe you were going to say the same thing. Further proof that football interest in this Steel City thought dead is returning.
Well, I think it's returning because the team's winning and performing much better on the field. And if the product warrants people coming to the park, then that'll happen here in Hamilton. If the product is not good, they'll stay away.
And that's justified.
Absolutely.
So Steve Jackson, number 74, comes in to replace Dave Graffey. As the Ticats have a 2nd and 10 from the Calgary 52-yard line. First down for Kenny Hobart inside the 40 to the 37-yard line. Anthony Woodson, number 96, there to bring him down along with Richie Hall, 27. But nobody does it any better than Hobart.
Well, this is the second time he's done this on a drive in the first quarter, and he sees the opening. Calgary's linebackers all dropped off. Gets a great block from number 74, Steve Jackson, right here to spring him those extra few yards and enabling him to pick up that first down.
I would think he will be a unanimous choice as the Eastern Shenley finalist.
Oh, I agree.
Hobart going deep. Touchdown, Ticats. Steve Stapler, but there is a penalty marker on the field. And the penalty is against the Ticats. What a beautiful play. Hobart hit Steve Stapler on the dead run. Good for 38 yards, but it's going to come back.
Well, I tell you, those break your heart. Stapler should have had one earlier, and one call back now.
Offside. Hamilton, number 23. First down repeated.
Rocky DiPietro was called offside.
Well, the slotbacks like to get those running starts, and Rocky jumped the gun just a little bit.
So it's 1st and 15 now. Ticats back at the Calgary 43-yard line. Doesn't this kid have great balance, though? I mean, he was tripped up a couple of times. Still was able to get inside the 35 to about the 33, and he'll be within 5 yards of another first down.
Well, you know, it's funny. One thing running backs are first taught when they come against two tacklers, don't try and go around them. The best thing to try to do is split them. Ken Hobart did that, so people who say he has a lot of running back tendencies in him are absolutely correct.
He picked up about 9 yards, so it's 2nd and 6. Hobart's pass is dropped by Stapler once again. That's 2 passes dropped by Steve Stapler this evening.
Pat, Dave Graffey got kicked in the calf, and so it's just a bruised calf muscle, and he'll be coming back into the game.
Thank you, Bill. Bernie Ruoff and that field goal unit is in the game right now. The Ticats trail 7-3 with 3:35 left to play in this opening quarter. Ruoff has been good on 1 field goal attempt this evening. And there you see his seasonal record. Well within his range here at the 41-yard line. And it is good. So Bernie Ruoff has put the Hamilton Ticats right back in the ball game. Calgary leads it 7-6. We'll be back in a moment. Rick Johnson, who broke all of Jim Hart's passing records at Southern Illinois University, is the quarterback for the Stampeders on first down. He hands to Dwight Beverly, but he had absolutely no place to go. Leo Ezrins was on him right away. And Rod Skillman, who's in there in place of Mike Walker, was also in on the play, number 59.
Well, if he broke all of Jim Hart's records, he must be some kind of quarterback, because Jim Hart just enjoyed a fabulous career with the St. Louis Cardinals in the National Football League.
Well, he's going to put it up here, does, but it's over everybody's head. The closest person was Donovan Rose, who wanted to make the interception.
The first report, Pat, on Dave Graffey, as I said, was just a bruise. Well, now a recheck with the doctor. He said, we thought it was a bruise, but he said there's a lot of pain there, and now we're not sure. It could even be a broken leg, and they will not know until they've had x-rays, because when they touch just one part of his leg, he's got severe pain. So it's obvious that Dave Graffey is through and could be for the season.
Well, that would be a terrible blow to the Ticats, because he has been their fullback all season long. You certainly don't like to replace a Canadian at this point in the season. Howard Fields took it on the dead run. A flag is down. No yards will be the call against the Stampeders. And the Ticats are going to have the ball deep in Calgary territory at the 45-yard line. There it is, the ball placed at the 45. No yards will be the call from Jake Ireland.
No yards. Calgary number 27. First down.
Well, that's Richie Hull. But, you know, you certainly can't cast any aspersions at the defense, because that's a rule that must be changed. They have absolutely no chance of getting out of that 5-yard line.
I agree with you. I'd like to see some kind of stipulation in there when a team just accidentally commits the no-yard infraction.
Hobart dumps it over the middle, intending it for Steve Jackson, but he couldn't bring it in. Jackson is in there in place of Dave Graffey, whom Bill has just mentioned may be seriously injured.
Steve Jackson is originally a slot back, now having to play fullback in place of the injured Dave Graffey. Bud Riley, well, we don't know if he'll be back next year. He took the job, of course, after Steve Barato was relieved of his duties, and really, I'm sure would prefer not to be coaching, but in this situation took over.
Flag is down, and all alone is Tony Champion, and he drops the football. The ball went right through his hands. There was nobody around him for 10 yards. That's simply a lack of concentration, because how could he possibly drop that?
He better hope the penalty's against Hamilton.
It was holding.
Well, Bill, we're having a look at it right now, and boy, sometimes they're so easy that you just lose your concentration. All you're saying when the thing's up in the air is, hey, I got 6, and then you've got nothing.
That's got to be the most embarrassing thing in the world. I'm sure it's happened to every receiver in every league.
I did it in Edmonton one time. I was one of the few times I ever got behind Larry Highbaugh, and I was all alone in the end zone, and the thing went right through my hands.
Who was the quarterback?
Well, whoever he wasn't talking to me.
Holding. Hamilton number 5-8. Decline. Illegal forward pass. Hamilton number 4. Third down.
Jason Riley was called for holding, and then Hobart had crossed the line of scrimmage when he threw the ball, so Tony Champion, you got off the hook. It brings up a 3rd and 10 for the Ticats. The ball at the Calgary 45-yard line. Bernie Ruoff is in to punt, as the Stampeders send back Richie Hall, number 27, and Rob Bresciani, number 11. Bresciani, a rookie from University of Saskatchewan. Good punt by Ruoff. Bresciani will let it bounce, and they're going to give up the single point that will tie this ball game. Well, if Bresciani's going to do that, he's going to face...
Oh, he gave him a shot.
Absolutely. Ed Gadavakis gave him a shot, and why not?
I don't blame him.
But we've got a tie ball game at 7 apiece now. Bill?
Well, we know where the Western semifinal is going to go. It's going to be at Winnipeg, of course, and Edmonton's going to be playing them because BC clinched first place last night. But we don't know where the Eastern semifinal is going to be, and that's what makes the wind-up of the regular season so exciting. However, if Hamilton wins tonight, then it is going to be either in Montreal or in Ottawa. But if Hamilton doesn't win tonight, then it could be in Hamilton.
This is Greg Fieger. And Feger fights his way over the 40 to about the 42-yard line for a pickup of 7 before Greg Gary, the linebacker number 41, was there to bring him down. Greg Feger, who had such an outstanding career with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, moved over to Calgary this year. Former Regina Ram graduate, of course.
Boy, they put a lot of players in the Canadian Football League. Bob Poley, also the center for the Calgary Stampeders, former Regina Ram.
Well, trying to pick up the first down was Tim Petrus, number 12. And I don't know that he got to the 45, which is where he had to get. Rod Skillman, number 59, was there to make the stop.
Well, there's the old Georgia Bulldog, number 31, Ben Zambiazzi, putting the hit on Tim Petros there, and I don't think they made it.
They're about a foot and a half short. But when you've got nothing to lose, why not go for it? Third down, a foot and a half to go for the first down. Johnson, the quarterback, keeps it, and I don't know.
No way. No way, unless they give him a generous spot. Unless they give him an extremely generous spot, I say he didn't make it. It's just so tough to get off the football on the snap count on a wet field like this tonight.
Well, we're going to find out whether he made it when we come back. They've placed the ball right at the 45, and that may be enough, but it's tied 7-7 at the end of the first quarter. We'll be back with the second quarter in a moment.
Well, the Calgary Stampeders do pick up a first down as Rick Johnson fumbles the football, but fumbled it forward far enough, and they recovered and keep their drive going.
Boy, that's called getting a lucky break. Johnson puts it up for runs, and he doesn't hang on either. Can anybody catch the football?
Yeah, the guys are really having a tough time tonight, and I don't believe the weather has a great deal to do with it.
It has to, Lee.
Oh.
I mean, you just don't see people drop as many footballs as we've seen in the first 15 minutes.
Well, I don't know what it is. You know, I'll tell you one of the things that I don't like. The guys are wearing the gloves, and those gloves get wet, and you can never keep those dry.
The first quarter Chevrolet statistical story shows Calgary with 102 yards, mostly on that 70-yard reception by Colbert. That pass intended for Ray Alexander goes incomplete. So the Stampeders, after that lucky break, will be punting now on third down.
Let's have a look at Ray Alexander working downfield. It really takes him a while to slow down and make that break on the wet field, and that allowed Donovan Rose time to come over. Good coverage, and once again, a Calgary receiver cannot hang on to the football.
Wayne Lee has joined Paul Bennett back to return this punt from J.T. Hay. And this will be Bennett at his 28-yard line. And he's forced out as he gets to the 35. That's where the Ticats will take over, and that's their worst field position of the football game to this point. Paul Bennett had a 90-some-yard return against the Ottawa Roughriders last week.
CFL leader in interceptions this season with 12, and Hamilton's Shenley nominee as outstanding Canadian and outstanding defensive player. I like his chances in the Canadian category.
Oh, I do too. He really has had an outstanding
I like his chances
season.
in the defensive category as well.
Well, certainly in the Eastern Conference.
Oh, in the East. I'm talking strictly in the Eastern Conference.
Hobart swings it out to Johnny Shepard, and he's upended because diving through was Richie Hall, number 27, and Shepard will actually end up losing yardage.
Let me tell you, this Hamilton Tiger Cat Club has had it very tough. As we told you, Graffy is out with a possible broken leg. That is the fourth Canadian they've lost in the past couple of weeks for the season. Malinowski fractured a leg. Gorel, who was cut by Montreal that they picked up, he fractured an arm. Sauvé, a nerve injury just around the shoulder. Now Graffy. Malinowski, Gorel, Sauvé, and Graffy.
And as you mentioned, they're all Canadians, and those are the ones that are tough to replace. The ball was loose, and the Ticats were able to get it back.
Ken Hobart just dropped that football as he went back in the pocket to pass. We're going to get a look at it. And I don't think nobody touched him. He just dropped that, and the Ticats are very fortunate that Johnny Shepard was able to get over there and fall on it.
We're just underway here in the second quarter of play. It's 7-7 Calgary and Hamilton, and we'll be back with the punt by the Ticats in just a moment. Oh, a hand on his shoulder. He was concerned because Hobart was shaken up on that last play, but apparently he's all right. He was able to walk out.
He got hit in the head, Pat, pardon me, and apparently the finger, Jonesy, the trainer, tells me, got in his eye, and that was a major problem.
Well, the Ticats lost a bundle on that series of downs. They're scrimmaging now from their 26-yard line. Ruoff to punt on 3rd and 18. Oh, this is a great punt. Bresciani is all the way back to his 30-yard line. Well, he did an excellent job. The rookie from the University of Saskatchewan gets it out over the 45 to the 48-yard line before Steve Jackson, number 74, was there to bring him down. A 54-yard boot by Ruoff, but a fine 18-yard return by Rob Bresciani, and the Calgary Stampeders, who are locked in a 7-7 tie, take over at their 48.
You know, Leaf, I was going to ask you about Bernie. It seems to me you were a teammate of his, but it seems to me that every time he gets started off well, his first kick or two, then he has a great game. And he started off well here tonight. His last game, he started off poorly, and he had a poor game.
Johnson's pass is tipped. It was intended for Spencer Jackson, but the ball was tipped away by Ben Zambiazzi.
Yeah, he did a good job on that middle linebacker spot. When you're in pass coverage, you get that deep drop as quickly as possible. And Ben then reads the quarterback, and he read Rick Johnson's eyes and was able to tip that ball away. Bill, your point about Bernie Ruoff is well taken. Bernie's the kind of guy that if he gets in a groove early and mentally, then he really stays in the game.
Second down, Stampeders, 10 yards to go. The pass over the head of Ray Alexander. Rick Johnson can throw the football, but that time he was well over the head of the intended receiver. Howard Fields and Leo's Ezrins.
Now, if you want to see something that is just going to be spectacular, make sure you're tuned to the wide world of sports for the World Gymnastics Championship from the Velodrome in Montreal. That is from the Velodrome in Montreal, 4 to 6 o'clock Eastern Time next Saturday on Wide World of Sports on CTV.
So it's third down, 10 yards to go, Calgary. J.T. Hay has that one partially blocked. It may have been Mark Streeter. The ball, however, comes loose, and
I think Calgary got it.
Calgary got it back. Well, what a fortunate set of circumstances that was, because J.T. Hay may have had that punt partially blocked. Howard Fields tried to make the catch for the Stampeders. Let's watch it again.
Well, I think it's, you see Fields miss it, then in number 4, Daryl Moyer is there to make the recovery, and that's a nice break for the Stampeders, and the way their season's gone, they need a few of those.
It's a 7-7 ball game with 12 minutes left to play in the first half. There are Rick Johnson's stats for the evening. And Johnson puts this one up, but it is picked off by Les Brown. Brown is upended by Spencer Jackson, but he gives Hamilton possession once again at their 25-yard line. There is a penalty marker on the field.
Well, there you see Manuel Tolbert. They're trying to hit him, but he falls down, and it's an easy interception for Les Brown. That's his 12th of the season. He now ties Paul Bennett for the league lead.
The penalty was holding against Calgary, declined by the Ticats, who take over at their 25-yard line.
Well, and each time the Ticats get an interception, they add to their record that they've set this year so far. They're 46th now on the season.
Hobart is back in the ball game at quarterback, and the handoff goes to Johnny Shepard, who was hit at the line of scrimmage by James Walker, number 64, who falls forward. Eugene Beliveau, it was actually 84, not 64, who made the stop. Pickup will be a couple of yards. They get second down, 8 yards to go. Hobart will be very close to the first down. If he got over the 35-yard line, it is a first down. And that is the indication from referee Jake Ireland.
And he has been their entire offense in the first half with some outstanding running on second down. Ken Hobart keeping drives alive. They only have 7 points, but largely due to the efforts of Ken Hobart.
But that's the very point you made at the top.
Oh, yeah.
He's the kind of a guy that can keep the drive going by his scrambling ability.
Oh, I agree. It's a nice move right here.
See, he's not built at all like Joe Kapp. But I understand what you're saying in the fact that he can run the football. But he looks as much like Joe Kapp as you and I look alike.
You're right.
Look at him get away from... How many tackles was he able to evade before he was finally bounced to the turf by Anthony Woodson? Ken Hobart, originally the property of the Edmonton Eskimos.
Came to Hamilton in a trade for guard Russ Francis, who is now with the Ottawa Rough Riders, I believe. Pretty good hit there by Anthony Woodson. You know, Calgary started getting some pretty good pressure on Hobart here in the first half. I think pretty sooner he's got to go to the screen pass and try and set something up that way.
It's second down and 10 yards to go, Ticats from their 36. And Hobart will not pick up the first down. He's over the 40 to about the 43, but Knox Culpepper, number 77, was there to upend him. And the Ticats will be punting.
It's one of the great names in the CFL.
Knox Culpepper
from Georgia.
You were talking about all the fans who braved this inclement weather to come out to the game at Ivor Stadium tonight, Pat. One fan that we should mention who left his team, the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are in Calgary tonight to watch his Hamilton Tiger Cats, is Harold Ballard, and he is here cheering them on.
Well, wouldn't you rather watch the Hamilton Ticats than the Toronto Maple Leafs?
Oh, what a cheap shot.
Bernie Ruoff dropped the ball, then was able to pick it up, got the punt away, and Rob Bresciani fields it, but then runs right into Wayne Lee. So the Calgary Stampeders will have the football when we come back. It's all tied up at 7-7. The situation, we've got 9 minutes, 27 seconds left to play in the first half. The Calgary Stampeders, who scored first, are in a 7-7 tie with the Hamilton Ticats. Hamilton needing a victory to clinch first place in the Eastern Conference. Rick Johnson is at quarterback for Calgary. A little mix-up in the formation as he takes one step back, fires, and pass was deflected at the line of scrimmage, and it falls incomplete.
I think number 59, Rod Skillman, got the hands up and deflected that ball away.
Well, Rick isn't setting the CFL on fire in this game tonight. He's completed 2 out of 12 for 73 yards, but 70 of those yards came on the completion to Emmanuel Tolbert. Greg Fager, and the pass was just a little bit too far behind him.
Boy, he saw number 31,
Yeah.
Ben Zambiazzi, just loading up, and I think he discretion was the better part there.
You know, Greg is the kind of guy that'd take anybody head on, but that time the ball was behind him, and he would have been killed.
He said this is the last game of the year. Let's give this one a rest.
You know, we're talking about Rick Johnson completing only 2 of 13 now. Hobart hasn't stood the Calgary defense on its ear either. He's only 3 for 9 for a total of 8 yards. Well, they went on third down, a direct snap, but Mitchell Price was there to snuff it out, and a gamble goes awry for the Calgary Stampeders, and Hamilton is going to take over deep in Calgary territory at the 35-yard line.
It's usually a kind of a play that you might try when it's third and a couple, but 3rd and 10, kind of tough even at the best of times to complete that. Mitchell Price wasn't fooled. Now you give Hamilton excellent field position.
Boy, oh boy, in a 7-7 ball game.
Yeah,
Knox Culpepper gave it his best shot, but
Kind of surprised at that one, Pat.
first down, Hamilton at the Calgary 34. On the draw, this is Johnny Shepard. He's inside the 30 to about the 28. He'll have a pickup of about 6 yards.
Johnny Shepard's got to handle the football. It's one of the few times he's been given the ball tonight, but they've got to get him involved in the offense. Bill?
Well, there's going to be a very big event next Saturday, the 9th of November, the National Junior Football Championship. Saskatoon Hilltops, one of the great names in junior football in our country, and Ottawa Sooners, one of the powers of the East. That's next Saturday in Ottawa.
The Ottawa Sooners, of course, are the defending junior champions, so they're back for the Little Grey Cup for the second year in a row. Bernie Morrison was there to make the stop for Calgary on Johnny Shepard. So the Stampeders do an excellent job of shutting down the Ticats, who became very conservative after getting a big break on the third down gamble by Calgary. Now it's 3rd and 6, and Bernie Ruoff is in the ball game to try a field goal from 36 yards out. He's 2 for 2 so far this evening. This one is wide. And the Stampeders will give up the single point. So for the first time in the ball game, the Hamilton Ticats are out in front. They lead at 8-7. We'll be back in a moment. 4 seconds left to play in this first half. Ticats have the lead for the first time this evening, 8-7. If they win the ball game, they finish first. If they don't, the Montreal Concords will have an opportunity tomorrow when they play the Edmonton Eskimos. But the Eskimos have really been outstanding in the last 3 months.
Well, I like you saw Al Bruno there, and couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Players like him. He's a players kind of coach. Not like that madman Frank Cush that I played for the last time Hamilton finished in first.
Ball came loose on the exchange from Rick Johnson and Dwight Beverly. Beverly very alertly just fell on the football back at the 30, so it'll be a loss of 5 instead of losing the ball.
In case we haven't mentioned it, that rain continues to come down, and it has been coming down fairly heavy all game.
Well, generally speaking, it's no bargain being in the press box at Ivor-Wynne Stadium because it really is a pigsty. But, Grampy, tonight I prefer being up here rather than on the sidelines where you are.
Well, you could get up there earlier and clean it out.
This is Beverly. Big first down. Can he go the distance? Howard Fields pushes him out at the 29-yard line.
But it's going to come back at least partially because Spencer Jackson just clipped Paul Bennett from behind. The officials saw it. It was a 51-yard gain on that pass to Dwight Beverly. I think the first down will count, and then they'll just bring it back from that point.
Here's the call from Jake Ireland. It'll be first down from the 34.
Clip. Calgary number 8. First down.
Well, as Leaf mentioned, Spencer Jackson clipped Paul Bennett. And as a result, they do pick up the first down because yards had already been made.
Well executed play, nevertheless. And I don't know if we're going to get to see the clip. There it is, right at the left of your screen. Couldn't really get a good look at it, but excellent call.
First down, Stampeders. Johnson fired that one at least 12 yards over the head of Ray Alexander.
Bill, you had a better shot at catching that ball than Ray Alexander.
Well, that's true, but my hands aren't as good.
Well, he's wearing those gloves you were saying they should.
Are you wearing gloves, too?
Yes, I am, as a matter of fact. It just keeps the rain off. You know something? We've got huge puddles along the sidelines. A player could come in here and he might get drowned, as a matter of fact, if somebody doesn't grab him in a hurry, like Buddy Tinsley did, if you recall, in the old mud bowl that took place at Varsity in 1950.
Flag is down. The handoff went to Greg Feger, but he was surrounded the moment he got the football. We'll see what the penalty marker is about.
There's a penalty marker on the plate.
Procedure call against Calgary. It'll be declined by Hamilton, and it'll bring up a punting situation. The Mud Bowl of 1950.
Procedure. Calgary number 61. Decline. Third down.
61 is Tom Spallettini. I was saying that was 1950. How old were you in 1950, Lee?
Zero.
Pat, you remember the 51 when they had to pull Tinsley out and almost give him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation?
Well, I was only a kid then, but you were there covering it, weren't you?
Nick Volpe, our isolation director, just tells me that he participated in that
He
game.
sure did. I remember that. This is Paul Bennett from his 38-yard line. And Bennett will get credit for getting to about the 40 or 41-yard line. Larry Hogue, number 14, was there to make the tackle for Calgary.
Sorry, how'd you like to be the trainer, come running out in the field and have to give mouth-to-mouth to Buddy Tinsley?
Well, I don't think they knew about mouth-to-mouth in those days, to be honest. A lot of things they didn't know about. The world has gone very weird. So the ball will be put into play at the 40-yard line by the Hamilton Ticats, who lead Calgary 8-7. Hobart just dumps it across the middle to Scott Colley. And boy, the quarterbacks are having a terrible time this evening. Bill?
Well, following tonight's game, the Carling O'Keefe Sports Game Stars will receive a Royal Canadian Mint 1-ounce gold coin presented by Kodak, makers of the new 8mm Kodavision video systems, featuring the portable all-in-one camera and recorder from Kodak.
It's 2nd and 10, Hamilton from their own 40-yard line. Hobart's pass is picked off. Neat play by Richie Hall. And look at the determination of Richie Hall. He's inside the 30 and finally brought down at the 28-yard line. The Calgary Stampeders trail by a point, but Richie Hall has given them an excellent opportunity to go back out in front. A 33-yard return.
Yeah, ball underthrown to Steve Stapler, and Richie Hall comes up with his 3rd interception on the season, and a good run back gives the Calgary Stampeders an excellent chance to either get a field goal or a touchdown. They do trail, as Pat mentioned, by 1 point, but now find themselves in great shape.
And let's face it, a touchdown in this situation, with the rain continuing to fall, you know, really gives you a comfortable lead, because there are not going to be too many big plays, I wouldn't think. Except that Beverly dropped the football. Now who's got it back? The Stampeders have recovered at about the 21 or 22-yard line. They're actually going to end up making 5 yards on the play.
Boy, that ball starts rolling around on the ground, and especially in that puddle over there. It is so slippery, really tough to make those fumble recoveries. I couldn't tell who did it, but actually they gained a few extra yards by fumbling the football.
Might have been Dan Runge, but it's so difficult to tell. But you can see the cloth that the center is wearing and that the quarterback is wearing is just soaked, so they may as well not even have blood. Johnson's pass is no good. Runge was the intended receiver, but he couldn't hang on to it.
Well, it's 6'9". I'm sure Rick Johnson was saying, if I can just get this ball up softly enough and high enough, that my receiver Dan Runge is going to have a heck of a shot at making the catch. It wasn't quite as high as he wanted to, but the guys are just having a heck of a time hanging on tonight. That's a touchdown. You know, this would have been his first of the year. He's still looking for one.
Let me tell you, Leaf and Pat, though, the ball shouldn't be that tough to hang on to. They put a dry ball in on every play.
I agree with you, Bill.
Well, the only thing is when you hang it up in the air, I mean, it's not dry going through the airwaves. The field goal try by J.T. Hay is good, and the Stampeders are back in front with 3:35 left to play in the first half. It's a 10-8 ball game. Stampeders out in front.
Well, they do capitalize on that interception by Richie Hall, and I'm sure Bud Riley would have preferred to have a touchdown by Dan Runge, but nevertheless, they do settle for a 3-point field goal by J.T. Hay, and as Pat told you, find themselves in the lead.
You know, when you look at Bud, you've got to say to yourself, there's a guy who has more lives than any cat you've known. I mean, Bud has been here, you know, was fired. He's been in Toronto, was fired. He's been in Calgary. But he always services.
Is this his 4th club as head coach?
I believe it is, yeah. Winnipeg, he was the head coach. Hobart's pass is caught by Rocky DiPietro, but he does not have a first down. Picks up about 7 yards before Mel Jenkins combines with Greg Peterson, 28 and 24, to bring him down.
Rocky's had kind of an indifferent year for him. We'll remind you about the poll. Would you attend the ballpark during the playoffs if the blackout were lifted? The numbers to call if you agree or disagree with that, and a 50-cent service charge.
No, you were saying about Rocky. You're right. He's only caught 49 passes coming into tonight's game.
Couple tonight, and now he's up to 51. But last year he had 71 catches, and just not having the year that we expect from him.
Stampeders lead it 10-8. We'll be back with the final 2 minutes and 40 seconds of the first half in just a moment. 40 seconds left to play in the first half. The Calgary Stampeders lead the Hamilton Ticats 10-8. Calgary owns the only offensive touchdown. It came on a pass from Rick Johnson to Emmanuel Tolbert that covered 70 yards. Apart from that, it's been the boot of Bernie Ruoff and J.T. Hay. Ruoff in a lot of trouble, coughs up the football, and look out, because in for the touchdown is Daryl Moyer, number 4. Oh, what a turnabout for the Calgary Stampeders. Bernie Ruoff got a bad pass from center. It was rolled back to him. Then he couldn't get the kick away. Finally fumbled the ball, and Daryl Moyer takes it in.
Yeah, it's a one-hopper to Bernie, and he just, by the time he looks up, he knows it's going to be blocked by Larry Hogue, 14, so he tries to at least save a touchdown, but he coughs it up, and Daryl Moyer, Johnny on the spot to pick up that touchdown.
Now, would you think that the Montreal Concords are a little bit excited about this? J.T. Hayes' point after is good, but there is a penalty marker. We'll have to wait and see what the flag is about.
Well, and we're alluding to the fact that if the Ticats lose tonight, the Concords tomorrow in their game against Edmonton would have an opportunity to finish first and host the Eastern Final, and the bigger break is to get that week layoff in between games.
Mind you, Montreal still has to beat Edmonton, and that's going to be a job, because the last time they met, the final score was 39-1.
Yeah, but let me tell you, it means something when the game means a lot to you. It's that little extra desire, Pat, and Montreal would have it. Edmonton has nothing really to play for.
No, you're right. Desire does mean a lot. Ability counts for something, too, though.
All right.
Apparently, Edmonton is going to rotate the quarterbacks tomorrow. Damon Allen and Matt Dunnigan are going to get about equal playing time, so I suspect that they're going to take a look at a few different things in preparation for their semifinal in Winnipeg.
2 minutes and 24 seconds left to play in the first half. It has been raining most of the afternoon here in Hamilton, and it has rained from the start of this game. It continues to rain, and as a result, there have been a lot of drop balls, a lot of fumbles, and Calgary, however, is full value for its lead. Howard Fields from his 4-yard line. And Fields gets to about the 24, that's all. Anthony Woodson, number 96, was there to make him fall down. Well, he didn't tackle him. He just kind of got in his way. 17-8. The Stampeders are out in front of the Ticats. Now, this is a very critical situation for the Ticats, because it's bad enough going to the locker room being down by 9 points, but you don't want to cough it up here again. Flag is down. Hobart throws it over the middle to DiPietro. DiPietro gets out over the 30 to the 31-yard line. Knox Culpepper, number 77, was there to help out on the tackle. The penalty is offside against the Stampeders. Let's just show you some of the games that were played today in college football. And you can look for the team in your area. And here's the call from Jake Ireland.
Calgary number 78. First down repeated.
Calgary number 78, Vince Goldsmith, was offside. So the 5-yard penalty makes it 1st and 5. And this is Johnny Shepard. The ball came loose, but it was recovered, I believe, by the Ticats.
Marv Alamang, the center, number 63, was able to fall on that ball. And boy, would that have ever been disastrous for the Ticats. Turnovers have already hurt them. Touchdown by Daryl Moyer on that botched punt attempt by Bernie Ruoff. A field goal after a Richie Hall interception. So the Calgary Stampeders have been very opportunistic here in the first half, and lucky that Hamilton didn't cough it up once again.
Big victory for Queens over Carleton. Carleton had been 5th rated in the nation.
Big win for Doug Hargraves, coach up at Queens.
Doug's an old Air Force pal of mine. We were never invaded by the Soviet Union all the time I was in there.
First World War, second.
Hobart's pass is knocked away by Mel Jenkins. It was intended by Tony Champion, but there is a penalty marker on the play. Hamilton is called for holding.
I'm not quite sure what they would have done if they ever came into your area.
Let me tell you, when I was flying Harvards, they knew that the Red Baron had nothing on me.
Holding. Hamilton, number 63. First down repeated.
Marv Alamang called for holding. The Stampeders accept the penalty and force the Ticats back inside their 25-yard line at about the 23. A minute 50 left to play in this second quarter. Hobart strings it out to Johnny Shepard. And Shepard, with a good run, is very close to a first down. Brought down by Greg Peterson and Knox Culpepper, 24 and 77. Greg Peterson, incidentally, is the brother of Vancouver Canuck hockey player Brent Peterson.
Well, this is a play that I think Ken Hobart should have called a lot earlier. It's just a swing screen out to Johnny Shepard. He's so elusive in the open field, and he gets a couple of blockers out in front of him, and that's the kind of offensive play they've got to keep going back to.
It's second down, a yard to go for the first down. Hobart keeps it himself, and he had the first down, it appeared, if he had put his head down and gone forward. But now let's see what they
they're going to give him the forward progress there, and that will be a first down.
Yep, with a minute 23 left to play.
Well, they get lots of time, too, to move it down the field. A minute 23 is plenty. They're at their own 45-yard line, and go to that roll. Either get those screens going or get to the rollout.
Stampeders have done a good job, though, in defensing this Hamilton offense tonight. All the points coming from Bernie Ruoff. And the pass will be ruled incomplete. It was intended for Scott Colley, but Anthony Woodson put a good lick on him, and it'll simply go as an incomplete forward pass.
Yeah, Hobart seemed to stumble as he came out from the center there, because that's a pass that has to be thrown very quickly, and the play just took a little too long to develop. Scott Colley took a pretty good shot. Once again, they're in second and long. It seems like they've been in this situation the whole first half.
And the only way they've managed to pick up their first downs is when Hobart runs, like he's going to do right now. And Hobart has another first down in Calgary territory, inside the 50 at about the 48-yard line. Knox Culpepper finally brings him down, along with Mel Jenkins, 77 and 28, but he picks up 17 yards with just 50 seconds left to play in the half.
Well, he's been their entire offense in the first half. I have to check with statistician Bob Layden how many yards he has accumulated, but he really has done an outstanding job. 8 carries for 77 yards so far in this first half.
First down, Ticats at the Calgary 48. And Hobart going deep, looking for Stapler, and it is knocked away. Fine play by Mel Jenkins, the cornerback on that side, number 28.
He's telling Steve Stapler how he made the play, too. He's obviously a talker out in the field, but I thought Steve Stapler did a good job to break it up and make sure that Mel Jenkins didn't come up with the interception. You know, that's what you have to do. That was not a very well-thrown football, and Stapler made a good play to break it up. Mel Jenkins, only 1 interception on the season, second year from the University of Cincinnati. Doing a good job. Well, he let Tony Champion get in behind him, but it didn't matter. Champion dropped it.
So it's second and 10. Hamilton at the Calgary 48. Hobart could not get away from Culpepper on this occasion. And with just 23 seconds left, the Hamilton kicking unit comes out onto the field. Well, this is a good decision because the Ticats are trailing 17-8 You don't want to try something here, end up giving the ball to Calgary, one big play, and they're in a position to kick another field goal. However, Ruoff may recall the last time he stood back in punt formation. The pass from center was rolled back to him. But this one is all right. He doesn't get much of a punt away, however. As the Stampeders will have possession outside their 15 to about the 18-yard line. Richie Hall on the punt return for the Cowboys with 11 seconds left in the half.
You know, I thought Bill did make a good point earlier on in the game about Bernie Ruoff. If he gets in a good groove, he's great for the whole game. But if something little thing goes wrong or something upsets him, such as that last punt, it can really shake him up mentally. And that last punt was not a good effort.
Mind you, on a night like this, I mean, it's, you know. I mean, it's been raining in Hamilton, it seems like the last 40 days and 40 nights, but it's actually only been since this afternoon, but it hasn't let up at all. Town is kind of drab at the best of times.
Johnson, the ball carrier.
Leo Ezrins and Greg Feger had words. And with 9 seconds showing on the clock, this will be the final play of the half. And the Calgary Stampeders, barring a calamity here, will go to the locker room with a 9-point edge. And that's something that the Ticats are going to have to overcome in the second half if they hope to finish first in the Eastern Conference. Otherwise, they're going to have to hope to back into first place. Johnson takes the pass from center, goes down on one knee, and that's it. That's the end of the first half of play here at Ivor Wynne Stadium in Hamilton, with the Ticats trailing the Calgary Stampeders 17-8. And Calgary is certainly entitled to that 9-point edge because they have played very aggressively on defense. They own the only offensive touchdown of the ball game. They got that on a 70-yard pass and run play from Rick Johnson to Emmanuel Tolbert, and the other touchdown for the Stampeders came on the fumble recovery by Darrell Moyer. Bill?
Emmanuel Tolbert is with me. Emmanuel, the first question I have to ask you is not about your touchdown, but it's about how well the Stampeders are playing in a game that means nothing to them.
Well, it is our last game, and we really don't have anything to lose. You know, we want to go out on a good note and, you know, just end the season on a positive note and come back next year and give it our best. But, you know, we're just giving it all tonight, and, you know, we want to make it as short a win as possible. So we just, you know, out having a lot of fun.
Well, if you played football like that earlier, you might not be out now. You know that?
That's true. That's true. But, you know, it was an up-and-down season for us. But tonight is all a different ball game. We're just having a good time out here tonight.
Tell me about that touchdown. That was a beauty.
Well, you know, it was kind of off pattern. Rick kind of flushed out of the pocket, and I saw him scrambling, so I just took off deep and just happened to be wide open.
Emmanuel, Leif Pedersen, whom you know is a receiver, or was for a long time, and up in the booth doing the color commentary, he wonders about receivers that always wear gloves. Now, you don't wear gloves, but some do. What do you think about it?
You know, my experience with gloves just haven't been too good. So I just rely on the hands, and if that don't work, you just don't have it, I guess.
Do you think that gloves bother a receiver that maybe hurt his ability?
Well, they could. I think it's just a mental thing for most players. You know, they feel like they wear them some game when it's raining or if it's cold, you know, but I think you should just use your hands at all times. Maybe find something to keep them warm on the sideline. Just go out there and give it your best shot.
Well, Emmanuel, you'd have to say the way you are playing thus far, that the future for the Calgary Stampeders next year certainly looks brighter.
Well, that's good. That's what we're trying to prove here tonight.
Thank you very much.
You.
Emmanuel Talbert.
Big story is that turnover that went for a touchdown, and it gives Calgary a 17-8 lead, and the Hamilton Ticats need points. They need them desperately because they want to finish in first place. To do that, they have to win this football game. We'll see what's going to happen in just a few moments. Well, the rain continues here at Ivor Wynne Stadium. And it's going to be interesting to see what the Hamilton Ticats elect to do because, of course, it is their choice. They could kick off to Calgary if that was their wont, but we'll wait and see what they've elected to do.
Those flags keep whipping, too. That wind is a factor, and it will favor the Calgary Stampeders here in the third quarter. Obviously, Hamilton wants to have that wind at their back in the fourth and final period.
It's funny now, they're going to take the football here as well. I would have been inclined to kick off. But let's wait and see what happens. I guess it doesn't show a great deal of confidence in your offense if you kick off. However,
well, I think they're getting the best of both worlds here. They're going to get the football to start the second half, and they're going to get the wind in the fourth quarter.
Down, and it gives Calgary a 17-8 lead, and the Hamilton Ticats need points. They need them desperately because they want to finish in first place. To do that, they have to win this football game. We'll see what's going to happen in just a few moments. Well, the rain continues here at Ivor Wynne Stadium. And it's going to be interesting to see what the Hamilton Ticats elect to do, because, of course, it is their choice. They could kick off to Calgary if that was their wont, but we'll wait and see what they've elected to do.
Well, those flags keep whipping, too. That wind is a factor, and it will favor the Calgary Stampeders here in the third quarter. Obviously, Hamilton wants to have that wind at their back in the fourth and final period.
It's funny now, they're going to take the football here as well. I would have been inclined to kick off. But let's wait and see what happens. I guess it doesn't show a great deal of confidence in your offense if you kick off. However,
well, I think they're getting the best of both worlds here. They're going to get the football to start the second half, and they're going to get the wind in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, but I don't know that's the best of both worlds. I'd rather have them have the football inside their 20-yard line. That's the point that I'm making under these weather conditions. However, we'll see how it turns out as J.T. Hay is ready. And so is Howard Fields and Tony Champion. They're back deep to receive the kickoff. And this will be Champion from his 10-yard line. And he's forced out as he crosses the 35 and gets to about the 38-yard line. Bernie Morrison was there to force him out. Well, Ken Hobart is going to have a much more productive half in the passing department than he did as we take a look at Bernie Morrison.
Yeah, John Priestner's trying to put the block on him, but Bernie Morrison sees what's happening, just keeps fighting pressure on the block, and then forces Tony Champion out of bounds. That's tough, you know. You've got to run down and cover those kicks, and a starting linebacker. Life in the CFL, you've got to play those special teams as well.
First down, Hamilton at their 38. They swing it out to Johnny Shepard. Well, it was a play that worked well for them in the late stages of the second quarter. They come right back with it, and Greg Peterson is forced to make the tackle up at the 53-yard line, but it's a big 16-yard pickup on the swing screen to Johnny Shepard, who has been hurt virtually all of last season, most of this season, but is returning to the form that won for him the Rookie of the Year award. And again, this is Shepard. And he crosses midfield into the Calgary 53-yard line.
You know, Pat, it seems to me the Hamilton Tiger Cat organization has to be congratulated in the Shepard case, because despite being out, as you pointed out, for a year and a half with injuries, they seem to have a lot of patience with him. They didn't try to press him back into action before he was really ready. And when he came back in the last game last week, he played extremely well. And he's been running not too bad here tonight, too, as you pointed out. I think we lost a contact lens.
I think it belonged to Jeff Arp, number 53, but regardless of what his problem might have been, Jake Ireland whistles time in, and the Hamilton Ticats face a 2nd and 7 situation with the ball at the Calgary 53.5-yard line. Stampeders lead it 17-8 early in the third quarter. Hobart's pass, too low, was intended for Steve Stapler, and L. Jenkins, number 28, the cornerback on that side, was providing the defensive coverage.
It appeared as though Calgary Stampeder was able to tip that football. We're going to get a good look from the end zone here, and it looked as though I couldn't see the number, but somebody tipped it when it was being thrown out to Steve Stapler, so that brings Bernie Ruoff into the ball game.
Anthony Woodson is the injured Calgary Stampeder who's down on the field being attended to by the training staff of the Cowboys.
I can tell, by the way, Pat and Leith, that the Hamilton fans are getting back into form. This is the first time this year that I've been at a game in Hamilton where they've thrown things at me. We're now getting pieces of hot dog, wieners, you name it. I mean, it's now become typical Hamilton football.
All right, it's 17-8. The Stampeders lead the Ticats, and we'll be back in a moment.
As I'm concerned, for all CFL games, especially when I'm sitting home watching it on CTV. It's the CFL Facts, Figures, and Records publication, an encyclopedia of information on the league and its players. And it's available at better bookstores, CFL team offices, or right to the CFL, 1200 Bay Street, Toronto, M5R2A5.
Pat Brady gets an excellent pass from center back to Bernie Ruoff, and he hangs one high and deep. Richie Hull takes it at his 15, crosses the 20, and gets out to about the 23-yard line. So the Stampeders will get their hands on the football for the first time in this quarter. They lead it 17-8, and if you've just joined us, they have scored the only offensive major of this ball game. It came early in the first quarter on a 70-yard touchdown pass from Rick Johnson to Emmanuel Tolbert. Their other touchdown came on a fumble recovery by Darrell Moyer. First down at the 22.5-yard line for the Stampeders. Johnson swings it out there, intending it for Beverly, but he couldn't hang on. We've had at least 7 passes dropped in this ball game.
Well, Pat, you don't seem to think the weather, or you think the weather does make a big difference, but, you know, the punt returners have done such a great job catching those punts. Everybody made it look pretty easy tonight. And
well, there's a different trajectory on the ball, too.
Well, you still got to catch. It's catching footballs. I think the guys are just having a bad night catching.
Well, if that's the case, they shouldn't be playing pro football because you don't see that many passes dropped. This one is deep, and Jackson drops the football as well.
Pass is incomplete.
Well, he should have had this one. He makes a great adjustment to the football, and Rick Johnson really paid the price throwing this pass. He's going to get whacked just as he releases the football, and Spencer Jackson made a great move to the ball, had it right in his arms, and just couldn't squeeze it in.
And so J.T. Hay is back in punt formation. The Ticats' Paul Bennett has been shaken up on the play.
Well, we told you about the fact that 4 of the Hamilton Tiger Cat Canadian players have been injured to the extent where they're out for the season. And now Paul Bennett here limping off. If there's anything serious with him, and I don't think there is, fortunately, the way he's walking off, but they just can't even afford minor hurts.
No, you're right, Bill. When you have a 34-man roster, boy, high pass from center that J.T. Hay did a great job to bring down. Wayne Lee from his 53-yard line gets to midfield and into the Calgary 54. He did a good job to hang on to the football, but an excellent job by J.T. Hay to go high in the air and grab that errant pass from center.
A great place to start a drive from, too. They're in Calgary Stampeder territory at the Calgary 54-yard line. And Ken Hobart stick with those screens and the rollouts and either run or throw. That's the kind of offense I think that's going to be successful for him here in the second half. That straight drop back has been kind of tough.
It is first down, Hamilton at the Calgary 54. The pass goes to Tony Champion. He hung on to that one momentarily. The ball comes loose, and it is recovered by the Ticats at the 46-yard line. It will not be a first down, but they'll have a pickup of very close to 8 yards.
Once again, the second time in the ball game he's done this. Number 63, the center, Marv Alamang, makes the fumble recovery. And quick screen to the wide receiver, Tony Champion. Has trouble initially catching the football. The ball is stripped by Bernie Morrison, but there's 63, Marv Alamang.
So it'll be second down, 2 yards to go. Hamilton the ball at the 46-yard line of the Stampeders. Hobart carries it himself, is inside the 45. He'll be very close to the first down marker. And referee Jake Ireland says, let's have a look at those sticks. They're going to bring them out. And it would appear from this vantage point that he does have the first down. Ticats need points. They trail 17-8. If they win, they guarantee themselves first place in the Eastern Conference. If they lose, the Montreal Concords will have an opportunity tomorrow to win the East when they play host to the Edmonton Eskimos, and we will have that game for you right across Canada on the CTV network starting at 1 o'clock Montreal time. First down, Hamilton. The ball at the 43.5-yard line of the Stampeders. Hobart going deep for Champion. No good.
Hobart's pass is incomplete.
Mel Jenkins was providing the defensive coverage, and Champion simply couldn't get to the football.
Boy, Johnny Shepard just did a great job picking up the blitz on that play to allow Ken Hobart to go outside. Watch this. Johnny Shepard right in, and he just cartwheels Anthony Woodson, number 96, and that allowed Ken Hobart to get outside. He did not get a good pass away to Tony Champion, however.
It's funny, the way he rolled out of there, I thought it might have been run all the way, but he obviously felt he could hit Champion. It's second down and 10 to go. Hamilton at the 43-yard line. Hobart dumps it off to Shepard. And Shepard does an excellent job to get to the 35-yard line. He's forced out by Ken Miller, and there is a penalty marker on the field.
All right, Ralph Schultz, number 67, and I couldn't see the Stampeder, but they were going at it pretty good. Johnny Shepard's going to take a pretty nasty shot at the end of this run. I don't know if they're going to call a penalty on this either, but he did a good job to shake off Kenny Miller and pick up some extra yards. Calgary will be assessed a penalty. Grabbed the face mask there as well. But that shot right there by number 28, Mel Jenkins, was totally unnecessary.
And he's going to get the call, I'm sure.
Calgary number 28. First down.
Well, it's a big, big penalty as Mel Jenkins picks up the unnecessary roughness flag. And Hamilton has a first down at the Calgary 19-yard line. Hobart, Steve Stapler, touchdown, Hamilton.
Great job by Ken Hobart. He did one-on-one coverage, sent all the motion to the wide side, and Steve Stapler got in underneath Mel Jenkins, his 9th touchdown of the season. Hamilton's first major in this ball game, and they're right back in it.
They most assuredly are. Bernie Ruoff's point after is good, and it's a 17-15 ball game with 10 minutes and 13 seconds left to play in the third quarter. We'll be back with the Hamilton kickoff in a moment. Well, there's the scoring drive. It only took them 5 plays, and then Hobart to Stapler for the first offensive score by the Ticats, who are right back in the ball game now, trailing the Stampeders 17-15. We're ready for the kickoff. It'll be Spencer Jackson, number 8, Rob Bresciani, number 11, and Mel Jenkins, number 28. Jenkins in the middle, back to return this kickoff by Bernie Ruoff. There's a good look at Steve Stapler. Came to the CFL as a member of the Toronto Argonauts and then over to the Hamilton Ticats.
Gentlemen, Paul Bennett is out of action. He has a pulled hamstring. They have strapped it up, and he will not be back in the game, so that certainly hurts the Ticats.
Boy, they better hope they win this one. And this is Bresciani. Well, he does a good job getting over the 30 to about the 33-yard line. That's the second return we've seen by Rob Bresciani tonight, and he's done a good job on both of them, as Dale Sanderson, number 56, was down to make the tackle for Hamilton. Here's a look at some special teams play.
Ed Gadavakis, backup linebacker for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, in on the tackle, but Rob Bresciani, a rookie from the University of Saskatchewan, has done an excellent job tonight returning those kicks.
Now the Stampeders were not able to move the football on their first possession. Let's see what happens here. They have it at their own 33-yard line, hanging on to a 2-point lead. The give is to Beverly, and he's wrapped up by Rod Skillman, and he may have gotten back to the line of scrimmage not much further. Skillman and Greg Gary, number 41, bring him down, but they will rule that he picked up maybe a yard.
Well, this crowd is really getting behind the Ticats now, and you could just see that enthusiasm on the defense. The offense finally scored a touchdown. It's got them back in this ball game. 17-15, Calgary leading, but the defense is cranked up, and so are these fans at Ivor Wynne Stadium.
We've got 9 minutes, 10 seconds left to play in the third quarter. Again, this is Beverly. And he coughs up the football. The Ticats have it. They will have possession in Calgary's end of the field at about the 42-yard line. Well, that won't be the last fumble of the evening. I'll guarantee you that. It's been raining all night.
Well, let's see what happens. A draw play to Dwight Beverly. The ball comes loose. Initially, Mitchell Price, and so many Ticats in there couldn't really pick out which one it was. Nevertheless, they have the football, and they're in great position.
And you can almost sense that they know this is an opportunity they can take advantage of. And this is also an opportunity to win first place in the Eastern Conference if they can win this football game. Hobart, he's going deep, but it's incomplete. He was looking for Steve Stapler.
Boy, he's really like throwing that bomb tonight. It does loosen the coverage up, but that time Stapler did not think the ball was coming to him, really not running full out. There's Grover Covington.
He's had a great year.
Yeah, they tell me he was the one that got that fumble recovery, too. He has had a super year. 15 sacks on the year, and, well, I'll never forget, he was originally at a free agent camp with the old Montreal Alouettes down in the States, and he wanted to be a fullback. And they said, no, I think at 250 pounds, you've got a better chance to be a defensive lineman.
He was going to try to be the Canadian refrigerator.
Yeah, right.
Hobart on a quarterback draw, and he's down to the 30-yard line for a Hamilton first down. Knox Culpepper, 77, finally does bring him down, but it's a 12-yard pickup for the quarterback of the Hamilton Ticats, who will likely be the outstanding player nominee from the Eastern Conference, Ken Hobart.
Yeah, design play, nice job, too. Quarterback draw, a couple of steps back just to get those linebackers moving backwards so the linemen have a chance to position themselves for blocks. And once again, on second down, he picks up a first down for the Ticats. I believe that's about the fourth time he's done that tonight rushing.
He's carried the ball 11 times for 92 yards as the training staff of the Stampeders is out to attend to James Walker. It's a 17-15 ball game in favor of the Stampeders, and we'll pick it up in just a few moments.
There's a spirit in the West, a spirit as open as the people and the land itself. And you'll find that spirit wherever Pacific Western spreads its wings. From Vancouver across the mountains and prairies all the way to Toronto, we are the West.
We're Pacific Western Airlines. We spread our wings across the West. Oh, thrill me with your light. I wanna feel it, feel the fires ignite, and fly away on wings of excitement. Excitement, excitement is what I'm living for. Excitement, excitement, I wanna feel my spirit soar. Excitement, excitement, on the excitement.
Never thought I'd agree with him.
We don't agree.
You don't think folks shop at Canadian Tire because they got so many gift ideas? Housewares, sporting goods?
Nonsense. They go there to save money. Money.
To make people happy.
Saving money makes me happy.
Oh, Ebenezer, you know you've got a heart of gold in there.
And it's mine. All mine.
Canadian Tire that you give like Santa and save like Scrooge.
8 minutes left to play in the third quarter. Calgary 17, Hamilton 15. Ticats on the move at the Stampeder 30-yard line. They have a first down. Hobart flares it out to Johnny Shepard, but he's upended on a good play by Richie Hall, number 27. That's the second time that he's knifed through there from his inside safety spot to make an open field tackle on Johnny Shepard. The statistical story offensively of this ball game is not impressive because of the weather conditions, but the Ticats are in an opportunity right now to take the lead in this ball game, and if they do, I suspect they'll be hard to catch, because they have everything to gain from this game. The Stampeders do not. Well, this is what Hobart has done all season long, scrambled all around. But let's give Mel Jenkins, he's only a little guy at 5'10" and 170 pounds. Kenny Miller, too. They were all hustling to make sure that he didn't pick up the first down, and he did not.
Now, Vince Goldsmith had a great shot at him initially, but Hobart broke the tackle and then was off and running. Good reaction by that Calgary secondary, though, to keep him from getting a first down. Knox Culpepper, number 77, the first one there.
So Bernie Ruoff will try yet another field goal, this one from 32 yards.
And you hear them, Bernie, Bernie.
His fourth try of the night. And it is good. The Ticats are back in front with 6:41 left to play in the third quarter. Hamilton 18, Calgary 17. Can the Stampeders answer the challenge? We're going to find out momentarily.
Well, it's Grey Cup time, of course, coming up in just 2 weeks' time on the 23rd. The Grey Cup parade, that starts at 12, goes to 2 o'clock Eastern time. The 84th Grey Cup replay, and that'll be from 2 to 4 Eastern time also, of course, with Pat and Lee. And you'll enjoy looking at last year's. On Sunday, the pregame show starts at 12 o'clock, a full hour and a half, and then followed by the 85 Grey Cup game on CTV.
Well, that Ticat defense really fired up now. Greg Gary was there to make the stop on Dwight Beverly, number 20. And he got back to the line of scrimmage, not much further.
Well, Pat, the Ticat defense this season has really been known throughout the league as an extremely physical defense, a punishing style of defense. Tonight in the first half, they were not that way. Here in the third quarter, they've got back to their old style, and they are starting to hit some folks out there.
Pickup was actually a couple of yards. Make it second down, 8 yards to go, Calgary. They have not had a first down in this third quarter. Johnson is going deep. It's batted up in the air by Donovan Rose, and the ball just falls to the ground incomplete.
Good job by Donovan Rose, too. Great coverage, stayed right on the hip of the receiver and came up and made the play. Well, that whole secondary's been making the plays all season long.
Leaf, that whole secondary certainly has, but one of the reasons has been the front four that has really been able to put pressure on the opposing quarterbacks.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more, Bill. That's where it all starts. If you get that pressure, your chances of covering your man are a little bit better.
Good punt by J.T. Hay to Wayne Lee at his 27-yard line. And Lee falls forward over the 30 to about the 33. So that's where the Ticats are going to put it into play right after Bill Stevenson has a comment to make.
Well, I just want to talk a little more about the Grey Cup. There's a hotline number, and this means for anybody out there who would like to get information on tickets, reservations, events taking place, this is the number, 1-416-928-3535. The city of Montreal all geared up, and I know you'll love the Grey Cup. You'll love Montreal, and the commissioner of the Canadian Football League told me about a week ago there are just a few over 3,000 tickets left for the game, so there's no doubt it'll be a sellout.
Well, this is Johnny Shepard, and he slips to the turf inside the 25. At about the 24-yard line, he'll lose 9 yards on the play. Second down, 19 yards to go, with 4 minutes and 45 seconds left to play in the third quarter. Ticats were trailing 17-8. But they've fought back and now lead at 18-17. Hobart swings it out to Shepard. And Shepard picks his way neatly over the 35 to about the 38. He'll be short of the first down, but at least he reestablishes some field position, and Bernie Ruoff will be punting.
Oh, that's an excellent point, Pat. They did not pick up the first down, but give Bernie Ruoff a much better spot to kick the football from now. And when you're ahead by a couple of points, that field position becomes so important.
Gene Gene Beliveau is the injured Calgary Stampeder. It's funny how guys change their name. I mean, Ralph Brock was Ralph for many years. Then he became Dieter. Gene Beliveau was Gene Beliveau for about 6 years. Now he's Eugene. What were you before you were Leaf? Because there had to be a different name than that.
The Spy.
Yeah. Or Antoine.
You know something, you were talking and congratulating the BC Lions, and they should be congratulated for the great season they've had and a record number of victories as they clinched first place last night. But I couldn't help but think that the most interesting part of the ball game was when Joe Moss, the head coach of the Ottawa Roughriders, went striding down the middle of the field to talk to the officials when he thought they should have given him a touchdown. As a matter of fact, I thought he looked a little bit like Gary Cooper in High Noon.
Well, you know, Joe, I'm sure today on reflecting upon that will realize that it probably wasn't the thing to do. But if you're any kind of a competitor and you feel that you've been jobbed, as Joe felt that he had been, you can almost sympathize with him, although I'm not sure the commissioner will.
Well, he may not, but I'll tell you, Pat, when you lose two that you think should have been touchdowns and you think you got a raw deal both times, I don't know many coaches that wouldn't have gone down there.
And I thought that he definitely did take a jobbing on it, because I thought Ottawa had scored a touchdown. It was late in the third quarter. It would have made it a very much closer ball game, and then Ottawa did come back and score a touchdown in the fourth quarter, so it could have changed the entire ball game. Anyway, it didn't, and congratulations to Donnie Matthews and the BC Lions, who will be off now for a couple of weeks, awaiting the outcome of that Edmonton-Winnipeg semifinal that we will have for you on the full CTV network a week from tomorrow. Good punt by Rua. Richie Hall from his 25-yard line. Leo Ezrins was there to make the tackle at the 30. But the Stampeders have to establish some offense now. They have not been able to do so in this third quarter, and we have only 4 minutes and 6 seconds left to play. It is Hamilton 18, Calgary 17. And an extremely important game for the Ticats, because if they win, they shut the door on everybody else in the East. They will be the champions of 1985. And not since 1981 have they won the Eastern Conference, when my sidekick Leif Pedersen was an integral part of that team. Coached by his favorite coach, Craig Cush. Johnson is sacked by Rod Skillman, who got into the lineup tonight because of the injury to Mike Walker. Skillman is there for the quarterback sack back at the 20-yard line. How many sacks is that, Bob Layden? That's 3 sacks tonight.
They had 48 coming into this game tonight on the season. That ranked them 4th in the CFL. The depth on the Ticats is improving. Rod Skillman able to come in, as Pat told you, with an injury, and well, you've got to have guys like that around on your reserve list that can come in and do a job. And he's been one of the better defensive performers for them this evening.
Rod Skillman, as a rookie last year, was selected the best first-year player on the Hamilton Ticat squad. He did not win it overall in the league, but at least he showed that he was capable of playing. As we take a look at Rick Johnson, the Calgary Stampeder quarterback, who doesn't look like he's with us at this point.
Yeah, he just gets ground right into the turf by Rod Skillman on that right shoulder, the throwing shoulder, and on that arm you see trainer Pat Clayton attending to him. The backup quarterback tonight is Greg Bavra, and he will be in the ballgame wearing number 13. Well, tomorrow we're all heading to Montreal for that big battle between the Edmonton Eskimos and the Montreal Concords. Of course, we told you numerous times tonight, if the Ticats lose, that game will take on greater meaning. Edmonton, well, they're going to use it as a tune-up for their semifinal game that they'll play next weekend in Winnipeg.
And I love those Eskimos. I think they have as good a team as any in the CFL at this point.
Yep, big change for them when they went back to that 4-3 defense. They played great ever since.
Bavra's pass was intended for Greg Fieger. He wasn't able to squeeze it. It's unfortunate that Rick Johnson took that hit in the head, but it's a good opportunity for Bud Riley to get Greg Bavra in there, because Johnson really hasn't done much so far this evening anyway.
Bavra on the season, 45% completion percentage, 5 interceptions, 1 touchdown. All Calgary quarterbacks, and that includes Joe Barnes, who is now with the Montreal Concords, have not collectively had a good year.
The problem, Pat, is the shoulder, the right throwing shoulder, and that's what the doctor is examining now. As soon as we get an answer, we'll let you know.
I thought his head had bounced off the turf after Skillman had thrown him to the ground. So it was his shoulder. This is Wayne Lee, and Lee gets to the 45-yard line, not much further. Ask him if he's got a headache, too, because he took a...
You won't be wrong, will you?
Well, have I ever been before?
No, you never have, that I can recall.
Isn't that funny how one guy's never wrong? Ah, well.
I think Antoine seems a little upset here tonight. At the 44-yard line is where the Hamilton Ticats will put it into play. They lead it by a point, 18-17, with 2:35 left to play in the third quarter. The handoff goes to Steve Jackson, his first carry of the ball game, number 74. And there's a look at Rick Johnson. We're going to examine that shoulder problem that Bill Stevenson alluded to moments ago. Could be a collarbone, having broken 5 of them myself.
Leaf Poley just came over to me. He said, will you tell Leaf to come on downstairs and join the party?
Oh, sure. Tell him I'll be right there.
Johnny Shepard. First down, Ticats. Into the Calgary 51-yard line. Knox Culpepper was there to make the stop, along with Greg Peterson. 77 and 24 combined to bring down Johnny Shepard.
Now, Johnny Shepard, when he gets in that open field, is an electrifying performer, as we saw a couple of years ago when he broke into the CFL. And tonight, their success has been the running of Ken Hobart and the running of Johnny Shepard after he's taken those little dump-off passes.
First down, Ticats. A minute 15 left. The handoff goes to Shepard, but he lost his footing as he got to the line of scrimmage, and he dives ahead for about a yard. Ken Miller, number 21, was there to make sure that he didn't go any further. So they put a little ice on the shoulder of quarterback Rick Johnson.
The word is this, Pat. It is a minor separation. He'll be out for the game.
Well, that's too bad because nobody wants to end the season on a note like that. Hobart's pass was intended for Steve Jackson, but it goes incomplete. So the Ticats will be punting on 3rd and 9 with just 37 seconds left to play in this third quarter.
You know what happened, Pat? When he hit his head, the vibration went down to the shoulder, and that caused the separation.
See, that's what I thought. It was probably something like that.
You were right.
Thank you, Bill. So Bernie Ruoff will be punting on 3rd and 9. And Mel Jenkins awaits at the 10-yard line. Excuse me, that's Richie Hall. Hall gets to the 15 and not much further. And that's where the Stampeders will put it into play. Leaf is back from having his refreshments. Going to make a comment in this quarter or not, Leaf?
I'm not sure.
We're down to 22 seconds left to play in this third quarter. It's an 18-17 ball game in favor of Hamilton, and Richie Hall, who returned that punt, was shaken up on the play. Bud Riley wondering, well, can we pull this one out of the fire or not? They've had their chances because they were ahead at the half, 17-8, but the Ticats have fought back here in the third quarter and have picked up 10 unanswered points.
What do you think? Bud be back as head coach next year?
Not a chance.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Not a chance.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Pat, I was going to say, you were talking about Bud and what he was thinking, and you would have to be a mind reader, because if there's one coach who doesn't tell you what he's thinking by the look on his face, it's got to be Bud Riley.
No,
he rarely changes expression.
That's right. You wouldn't know if he was 50 points up or 50 points down. Richie Hall, number 27, gets to his feet. and limps off the field with Pat Clayton giving him some assistance. And there's Bud. Good fellow, though, from Oklahoma State University, Bud Riley.
He's one of the gentlemen in Canadian football, Pat, and he's been in the league for many, many, many years, as we have stated before.
I always thought he took kind of a shafting in Winnipeg. I didn't think he should get axed there, but the media did a job on him.
He put together some great teams with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. He brought Dieter Brock to Canada.
Yep. The pass was very nearly picked up. Terry Lane, number 37, had it in his hands but couldn't squeeze it. And, you know, if you talk to coaches in the CFL, they'll tell you that Bud was the guy who brought that inside game to the offenses of the Canadian Football League. Those two inside receivers that Edmonton really took advantage of and built all their championship teams around.
Well, originally he did it. Got rid of the tight end, 2 slot backs. He had Tommy Scott with him originally. That became the prototype for a number of years. Now a little bit of a shift with guys like Ray Elgard and Nick Araki to the bigger, more combination slot back tight end, but still very effective.
Emmanuel Tolbert took that pass coming across the middle, got to the 24-yard line, but he'll be short of the first down as the third quarter comes to an end with the Hamilton Ticats out in front of the Calgary Stampeders 18-17. We'll be back with the fourth quarter in a moment.
Everybody knows me. I'm the guy who did the Miller Lite commercials in the States. Now I am introducing Light here. Light tastes great, and it tastes less filling, and it's brewed right here. I find the only thing that I don't like about all this popularity, signing autographs.
Sir, may I borrow your pen?
Sure.
Thank you.
Hey, who is this guy?
Light beer from Miller, now brewed in Canada. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
This is my car. It takes a big chunk out of my paycheck every month. So I want
this car to last. That's why I use Quaker State. It's a specially
blended motor oil made to help my car last for a long
play with Hamilton out in front of Calgary 18-17. J.T. Hay stands in punt formation to see if he can get the Stampeders out of a hole. Pretty good kick. This is Wayne Lee. And Lee crosses midfield, gets into Calgary territory at the 51-yard line. And that's where Kenny Hobart and the Ticats will put it into play. They lead it by a point. They'd love to pick up another touchdown here. Let's take a look at our Chevrolet three-quarter statistical story. 196 for Hamilton total yards, 129 for Calgary. And if you take away that 70-yard pass early in the first quarter, you can see that the Stampeders have only picked up 59 yards since that time.
Well, Rick Johnson only 3 for 19, so you can see the ineffectiveness of the passing game for the Stampeders.
Johnny Shepard, with some determined running, crosses the 50 and gets into the 58. Only picks up 3, but it goes to show you that sometimes you don't get a lot of yardage, but you sure display your talents well, and that's what Shepard did on that occasion.
Well, Bill Shepard in this third quarter has 5 receptions for 85 yards, so he's really been the workhorse offensively for the Ticats.
Just got to say, Leaf and Pat, that he seems to be running like he's completely healthy, which is the big news for the Cats.
On second down, Hobart's pass goes incomplete. He was looking for Steve Stapler. Boy, his statistical story in this game has got to be unimpressive, too.
That's a pass you've got to complete. Steve Stapler wide open on that quick out on a 2nd and 5 situation. Got to be able to complete that, and he just really made a bad throw.
He's completed 12 of 28, but many of those have been those swing passes to Johnny Shepard. As Bernie Ruoff stands back to punt. Ooh, beauty. Oh, the Stampeders are happy that Rob Bresciani was able to get that one back. He initially fumbled the punt from Ruoff, but then was able to pick it up.
So many times, once you initially fumble a football, you just have a tough time picking it back up. Bresciani was able to do so here.
Got a penalty marker, Leaf, on the play. And as you pointed out, he was extremely fortunate to get that ball back. Now, the situation was 3rd and about 5.5 yards to go.
I suspect it's an offside or something because they're looking at the first down marker saying if we take the 5, we can have a third down gamble and go for it. We'll wait and see what Jake Ireland tells us, but
yeah, you're right. They're going to take the 5 yards because I think they'll only have about 1.5 feet to go for the first down. The 28 is Mel Jenkins.
Offside. Calgary number 28. Third down repeated.
Okay, so it's third down, 1.5 yards to go, or excuse me, 1.5 feet to go. Ken Hobart likely to keep it himself. Why risk the exchange? That's what he does. I always get a kick out of the defensive unit, though. Kenny Miller signaling, no chance that he got it. They're going to bring the sticks out. I'll be very surprised if he doesn't have the first down.
boy, he didn't get it.
Boy, he didn't get much of a spot, did he?
Well, I agree with you there. I just assumed when he took the sneak that he had it no problem.
And Kenny Hobart is talking it over with Jake Ireland. He just can't believe this. I mean, he's smiling, saying, you know, let's take a look at that.
Well, he had 1.5 feet to go, and
well, that's the funny thing about football. They're so precise with the measurement, and yet the official will run up and stomp his foot down, and you can never be sure. Greg Vavra is dropped back at the 35-yard line by Grover Covington.
well, that's his 16th sack of 1985, and I play with Grover, and he's a great guy to have on a ball club. All the other players really look up to him. He's a pretty quiet, unassuming guy and leads by example out there, and his example has been 16 sacks and the leader on that defensive front.
Grover at 6'3", 252 pounds, had another outstanding year, and this is 5th season. Beverly, the ball carrier, gets to the 40-yard line, and now things getting a little tough. Bob Poley in the middle of things for Calgary.
Yeah, he took a shot at Terry Lean, and I don't blame him. At the end of the play, Terry Lean took a pretty good shot at Dwight Beverly, and Foley objected to that, and I think Dwight Beverly's having a little chat with him, too.
Now, did you play with Bob Poley in Regina when you were there?
Yeah.
He always impressed me as a very nice guy, but
happy-go-lucky.
But, like, I would never want to meet him in a dark alley. He looks like he could be ferocious.
I don't think that's the kind of fun, Pat, that he wanted Leaf to come down and join them in either. Leaf was never very good at that, I understand.
No. Bob wanted me to come down and have a few pops with him after the game. I know that.
Good punt by J.T. Hay. And this is Wayne Lee at the 25. He dodges a couple of tacklers and gets to the 30-yard line, which is where the Ticats are going to put it into play when we come back. Hamilton hanging on to a 1-point lead over the Stampeders. We'll be back in a moment.
How much you ready to pay for a full-size pickup? Well, keep your money, because Chevy's brought the price down with this great new Chevy pickup. It's got Canada's lowest price for a full-size. Tough, sure, but tough's not enough. This new Chevy pickup's all truck. The full-size payload, the room, the ride, and now the price. No one beats it for price from GM, Canada's #1 in truck sales.
That's the Chevy way to go.
Way to go, Chevy.
Red or white, Hathaway?
Nothing in
17, Hamilton leading Calgary. 12 minutes, 2 seconds left to play in the ball game. If you've just joined us, the Ticats can win first place in the Eastern Conference with a victory here tonight. If not, it'll all be decided tomorrow in Montreal, where the Concords will play host to the Edmonton Eskimos, and we'll have that game for you on the full CTV network beginning at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Ken Hobart has gone all the way at quarterback for Hamilton, and why not? He's the man that turned the franchise around about a month and a half ago. His pass is complete to Rocky DiPietro, and Rocky gets over the 35 to about the 37-yard line for a pickup of 7 yards before Greg Peterson and Mel Jenkins, 24 and 28, combined to bring him down.
Rocky just tries to sneak underneath those linebackers, gets by Culpepper, but Greg Peterson and Mel Jenkins are able to come up and put the stop on them. But that's at least better than they've been doing. Ticats horrendous tonight on first down plays. That time 8 yards or so on first down. Puts them in a much better position.
Hobart again on the quarterback draw. Does not get to the 40-yard line. He's going to be short by a little bit. It'll be interesting to see what the Ticats elect to do. And they're sending out the punting unit. Time is called by referee Jake Ireland. But they are definitely short. They gambled and lost last time. But, Leaf, don't you feel that this game is a real mirror of the Ticat season? 17-8 was the score at halftime. The Hamilton defense has completely shut down Calgary here in the second half. Stampeders don't have a first down, and the offense has generated sufficient, mileage to get some points. Now they lead 18-17.
Well, their whole game plan has been predicated all season long on defense. And your interpretation is absolutely true. That's how this game has gone and pretty much their whole season. They play the good, tough defense, get the turnovers. And the turnovers have been the big story of Hamilton's year because offensively they are not near the top in any categories. But the defense has put them in good position so many times that the offense has taken advantage of it enough to give them a shot at finishing in first place.
Isn't it amazing? Hobart now with his 101 yards rushing tonight has rushed for 925 yards. Who would have ever believed a quarterback would do that in the CFL? Greg Vavra's pass goes over the head, and a flag comes down about 15 seconds after Ray Alexander was on the turf. Now, Alexander was pleading for a call. None was forthcoming, and then many seconds after the ball was over his head, a flag came down.
Al Bruno's halfway out in the field, too. He can't believe it. I think he deposited his headset on the field and smashed it up. Donovan Rose is going to get an interference penalty, and boy, that was they're going to get a penalty added on as well, maybe an objectionable conduct penalty.
Well, that was a very weird call. I'm not suggesting that it wasn't interference, but it took so long for the flag to be thrown.
Let's see what Jake Ireland comes up with.
Forward pass interference. Hamilton, number 26. Major foul. Roughing the passer. Hamilton, number 31. First down.
Okay, so the pass interference is against Donovan Rose, and then the roughing by Ben Zambiazzi. Watch it. Wow.
Boy, did he take a shot.
Well, Dwight Beverly carries the ball for the Stampeders and gets it inside the 25 to about the 24-yard line for a pickup of 6 yards. It'll be 2nd and 4. Now, this is a critical football game and a critical time in the game for both these clubs, but it's so critical for the Ticats, who are clinging to a 1-point lead and trying to win the Eastern Conference. It's 2nd down, 4 yards to go. Vavra gives to Beverly, but Ben Zambiazzi slashed through there to drop him back to the line of scrimmage at the 26-yard line, and we will see J.T. Hay. Boy, the temperatures are really heating up now.
Dwight Beverly made a real big mistake on the last play. He started pushing around Rod Skillman, and I think that really incensed some of the Ticats. Ben Zambiazzi from his middle linebacking spot, the team's leading tackler, makes the big play on 2nd down, but Beverly has got the members of that defense a little upset.
But J.T. Hay is in a position right now to give the Stampeders the lead once again, despite the fact that the only first down they have picked up has come by a penalty in this second half. Kick will come from the 33-yard line. J.T. Hay puts it up, and it is wide. Howard Fields running around back there. There is a penalty marker on the field. Fields was knocked out of bounds by Bob Poley. There is no flag there, but there is a flag back at the line of scrimmage. Now, the situation prior to the kick was it was 3rd and 6. Let's wait and see.
Well, J.T. Hay, after this field goal attempt, was knocked by Les Brown. Les Brown should have just left him alone. Very needless penalty to take. It's given the Calgary Stampeders an automatic first down.
At the 17-yard line, and Fabra had no chance. The ball comes loose, and the Stampeders get it back. This has really become now a scrum. Paul Palmer, just a minute, Bill. Paul Palmer came up with that recovery for the Calgary Stampeders back at the 25-yard line.
Pat, I was going to say that on that replay, it showed that there was definitely the Hamilton player, Brown, was definitely pushed into the kicker. And that's what Hamilton is beefing about.
Well, we'll take a look at it one more time if we have an opportunity. It didn't look that way to me, but... And Fabra has dropped back at the 30-yard line. Let's take a look at it one more time because this is going to be a critical play in this ball game.
Well, it sure doesn't appear to me that he's pushed into him. Let's see. No way. Bernie Morrison hits him, but Les Brown, it was easy for him to avoid the contact. That's just a dumb penalty.
Well, it's still 18-17. J.T. Hay is out on the field. Now his field goal attempt will come from the 37-yard line. Boy, I'll tell you, the Ticats are fired up. They have just been swarming the Calgary offense the last few plays. And Moyer doesn't get an opportunity to put it down if, in fact, they were going to try the field goal. Do you think it was a fake?
No, I don't think it was a fake.
No. I don't think he had an opportunity to get it down cleanly. J.T. Hay doesn't get a chance at the field goal, and the Hamilton Ticats take over because of a stout defense.
No, he definitely just mishandled the snap from center, Daryl Moyer, and what a break for the Ticats. The game would have been tied had the original field goal attempt stood, but Al Bruno has to be delirious about this turn of events.
All right, it is Hamilton 18, Calgary 17. Hamilton first down at their own 42-yard line with 7.5 minutes left to play in the ball game. Johnny Shepard gets to the 44-yard line for a pickup of a couple. It'll be 2nd and 8 Ticats. There's an old adage, you never take points off the scoreboard. And
yeah, I don't believe that adage in that situation.
No,
automatic first down. But
sure.
What Ken Hobart would love to do right now is to try and eat up a little time off this clock. A little over 7 minutes remaining.
He actually gained 3, so it's 2nd and 7, and Hobart's going to try to run for it himself. And he doesn't get it. He's forced out at the 50-yard line. Big play by Anthony Woodson. Tell you, Woodson showed you some speed, though, didn't he?
Yeah, he does. He's got 4.6, legitimate 4.6 speed, and able to quite easily outrun and catch up to Ken Hobart. Well, the Stampeders are going to get the football back again. Hamilton not able to sustain any kind of a drive.
However, the Stampeders are going to get it back deep in their own territory, and they simply have not been able to move it here in the second half. Ruoff's punt is handled, but a whistle had gone. Now, let's see what this is about. Time may have expired before Ruoff got that punt away.
Well, the 20-second clocks in the corner of the end zone showed about 7 seconds left on it when the punt was kicked.
I did not see a penalty marker on the field, but the officials definitely blew their whistle. Ruoff had kicked the ball, but they ruled the play dead. So there's no penalty, there's nothing. Ruoff is simply going to kick the football again, that's all.
It's a strange one.
End over end ball. And this one is fumbled and recovered by the Ticats at the Calgary 16-yard line. And when we come back, we're going to see what Hamilton can do, leading at 18-17. Break for the Stampeders. Rob Bresciani fumbled the football. Ed Gadavecas recovered it. And Ed, number 39, is a happy fellow. Why not? He's given the Ticats first down at the Calgary 16-yard line with 6 minutes, 32 seconds left to play in the ball game. And Hamilton now in a position to increase their 1-point advantage. Well, it's been that kind of a game, played under terrible weather, just as the semifinal in the Eastern Conference was last year. Well, Mike Dirks was able to draw the Stampeders offside.
And he's going to get called for illegal procedure
Exactly.
by doing it.
So he made a little false start there, sucked him in offside, and then is nailed for a procedure penalty.
Yeah, you got it figured out.
Mike said, ha ha, you guys, just watch what I can do to you.
Won't be saying ha ha in a film session
Hamilton
next
number
week.
68. First down repeated.
But Al Bruno's going all over him for pulling off.
First and 15 for the Ticats. Hobart's pass to the end zone, no good. I don't know who he's going for there. Scott Colley, maybe.
Well, miscommunication because Scott Colley broke to the sideline. Hobart, assuming he was going to continue upfield, and he's very fortunate that ball was not picked up by Mel Jenkins. Al Bruno sending a play in from the sidelines. Wayne Lee, number 17, will come in, and number 25, Scott Colley, goes out.
It's second down, 15 yards to go. Ticats at the Calgary 21-yard line.
Stapler's been the guy he likes to go to in crucial situations.
Yeah, he'll roll out of here, I would think. Now, quarterback draw. Well, they look at it. The ball comes loose. And the Stampeders have recovered inside their 15-yard line. Well, this was the thing, obviously, that Al Bruno was afraid of. That's why he told him, look, run the quarterback draw. We're going to get 3 points anyway. You may pick up the first down. He ends up coughing up the football. And the one thing that Al Bruno didn't want to have happen does occur.
Oh, that's disastrous for the Ticats. They only have that single-point lead. Hobart coughs it up. Number 77, Knox Culpepper, the middle linebacker, is the one who finally comes up with the fumble recovery. I guess if there's anything good about it for the Ticats, it's that the Stampeders will have to start from their own 14-yard line and have a long way to go.
Hobart was shaken up on that play, incidentally, and is very slow leaving the field, aided by the training staff.
Well, there's Ray Jones.
Ray Jones,
yeah, does a great job getting the guys ready each week to play. Got to be able to trust that guy, and I know every guy that plays for Hamilton has faith in Ray Jones.
Well, with Greg Vavra at the controls, the Stampeders have a long way to go. They start at their 15. Vavra's pass is no good. Spencer Jackson couldn't squeeze it. You see, the other unfortunate thing is with this artificial surface here in Hamilton, they don't have a machine that gets rid of the water prior to the game, so consequently it's like playing in Lake Ontario out there right now.
Ball a little high by Greg Vavra. Spencer Jackson goes up, and that's a tough pass to catch, and would have been a remarkable catch had he been able to come up with it.
We haven't had too many of those tonight. This one was batted in the air by Beverly, and then he makes the catch himself and gets the ball out to the 20-yard line, but they're well short of the first down. It'll be 3rd and 5 with 4 minutes and 58 seconds left to play in the ball game. Donovan Rose and Howard Fields were there to bring him down. Bill?
Following tonight's game, the Carling O'Keefe Sports Game Stars will receive a Royal Canadian Mint 1-ounce gold coin presented by Tilley, Canadian manufacturers of fine leather goods. At Tilley, we bring together quality and creativity in all our products. For all your needs, from our line of personal leather goods through to our travel wear.
Wayne Lee takes it at the Calgary 52, and look at this. Lee gets to the 40-yard line, and that's where the Hamilton Ticats will have possession. Darrell Moyer made the tackle for the Stampeders. But barring something completely unforeseen here, because the Stampeders have been so ineffective moving the football, they're going to have to come up with a big play defensively, because it now appears obvious they're not going to be able to move the football down the field. They have 1 first down in this half, and it came by a penalty. Hobart gives to Johnny Shepard. And he's tackled as he crosses the 40 to the 38-yard line by Anthony Woodson. Woodson has played well tonight and certainly will have to be given a lot of consideration for our Carling O'Keefe defensive game star. So too is Knox Culpepper. Hamilton leading at 18 to 17 with less than 4 minutes left to play in the ball game. Swing pass goes to Shepard. And he has the first down as Johnny Shepard is in to the 24-yard line.
Well, that same swing screen pass that they've had success all evening with, and it's a good safe play on second down. Good easy pass to complete, and when you have the elusive running back like Johnny Shepard on your team, you've got to use him this way, and Ken Hobart's been very smart with his play selection.
Johnny Shepard has caught 8 of those passes tonight for 81 yards.
Not a bad night.
No, and it's great for Ticats fans to realize he's back and in good shape. Hobart drilled that one, but Scott Colley would have had to have been plastic man to make the catch. 3:09 left to play in the ball game. Ticats hanging on to a 1-point lead. We'll be back in a moment. 3 minutes, 9 seconds left to play in the ball game. It's second down, 10 yards to go. Hamilton at the Calgary 25.5-yard line. Hamilton leading it by a point. If they maintain this advantage, they will finish on top of the Eastern Conference. Hobart's pass to the end zone, no good. Tony Champion was in the end zone, and if he was the intended receiver, he was well overthrown.
Well, this is a big play for the Ticats. Bernie Ruoff coming on the field for that field goal attempt. They do lead by 1 point, and of course, if he is successful, it forces Calgary to score a touchdown.
Let's take a look at the pressure that Hobart was under as he delivered that pass.
Yeah, he takes a pretty good hit there. I couldn't really catch the number. Who did it? Let's see.
Don Chumley, I believe it was.
I believe you're right. Number 63, Don Chumley. Newcomer at defensive tackle.
Bernie Ruoff's kick is good. And so with 2 minutes and 43 seconds left in the ball game, the Hamilton Ticats have gone in front by 4. But the Stampeders will have an opportunity now to put the ball into play at their own 35-yard line. Bernie has been good on 4 of 5 field goals tonight.
Well, as you've noticed, Pat and Leaf, Ken Hobart is limping around, and the fans have been able to see it too on the television. And you have to wonder, despite the fact that he's a big, brawny guy and a great runner, just how long he can last taking the punishment he does.
Hopefully for a few more games.
Greg Vavra has dropped from behind. Rod Skillman and Greg Gary nail him at the 35-yard line, which is the original line of scrimmage.
I do believe that's Rod Skillman's second sack of the ball game tonight. And boy, has he been a pleasant surprise replacing Mike Walker. They've had a very, very good performance from him.
Another fellow who will have to get a lot of consideration for our Carling O'Keefe game stars. I understand you don't want to be part of the voting tonight. Second down, 10 yards to go. Calgary. Vavra was able to get away from Grover Covington. What a play by Ray Alexander, who came across the field. He was not the intended receiver. He was there to make the catch at the 42-yard line with 2 minutes and 13 seconds left to play. He picks up 33 yards.
I honestly believe Greg Vavra was trying to hit Emmanuel Tolbert, but just could not get enough on that football. It was so short that it allowed Ray Alexander to come across the field and make the play.
Did you put the player of the game on the net?
So now the Stampeders have the ball in Hamilton territory at the 43-yard line. The give is to Beverly. And Beverly fights his way inside the 40 to about the 39, 38-yard line.
Well, and you know the Stampeders will be playing 3-down football throughout these last few minutes. They trail by 4, have to have a touchdown.
Would you attend the ballpark during the playoffs if the blackouts were lifted? That was the question we wanted to ask you tonight. Yes, 90% of the folks said. No, 10%. The league will be very interested in the result of that poll. Over the middle, the pass goes to Emmanuel Tolbert, but it wasn't anywhere close to him.
That brings up third down, and of course we told you the Stampeders will be going on any third down situations they may find themselves in now.
It's third down, 5 yards to go for a first down with 1:54 left to play. Well, that'll do it. The Hamilton Ticats should be able to hang on. And the Calgary Stampeders will finish their season as it began. They had no offense at the start of the year. They have no offense at the tail end of it. They had trouble at the quarterbacking spot at the beginning of the season. That hasn't been resolved. And until it is, the Stampeders are going to have problems. This will be their second consecutive last place finish in the Western Conference.
Yeah, quarterbacking really has been a problem for them. Greg Vavra, just without the experience, he had Emmanuel Tolbert open early and just, couldn't see him. And
so the Ticats take over at their 38-yard line. Give us to Johnny Shepard. And Shepard crosses the 40 to the 41.
Shepard, the ball carrier.
Now Shepard will be carrying that ball like a brick of gold right now. 2 hands, and don't cough it up.
Shepard has played very well tonight. His best game certainly in the last 2 years. I think he's going to have to be given a lot of consideration for the Carling O'Keefe. He, Ken Hobart.
Well, you're picking them tonight, so you'll have to make a very important decision.
Well,
here.
Bobby Layden, Alex Ponton, myself. The only one who won't be picking will be you. Shepard again, the ball carrier. Gets it to the 45. And Bernie Ruoff is going to be punting with 1:21 left on the clock.
Well, Pat Brady had trouble earlier in the ball game getting that ball back to Bernie Ruoff on a punting situation. I wonder what's going through his mind right now when he knows all he's got to do is get that thing back there without bouncing it.
Tell you what amazes me, now time is whistled in. Didn't understand why the clock was stopped, but now they're going to take as much time as they can. Ruoff lets the 20-second clock wind down. It's down to 5 right now. Good pass from center.
Yeah.
Good punt by Ruoff, too. This is Richie Hall. And Hall dives over the 25 to the 28 with 54 seconds left to play. So 54 more anguishing seconds for Al Bruno, the head coach of the Ticats, because anything can happen in that period of time in the CFL. One big play, one pass thrown deep with the defender falling down, and all of a sudden first place is out of your grasp. Well, Dan Runge was looking, but he was looking for Greg Gary as opposed to the football.
Yeah, I think so. He's a good target to nail, too. Isn't he 6'9"? He's a big boy.
How many passes has Greg Vavra completed? Well, he's had as much success as Rick Johnson. Ben Zambiasi just wouldn't give up the chase. He chased him all the way across to the sideline, and then when he reversed his field, Ben just hopped right on his back.
The Ticat defense has really been super here in the second half. They became a lot more aggressive and put the pressure on both Rick Johnson and now Greg Vavra, who's in at quarterback, and very deserving of this win if they're able to hang on with 42 seconds remaining.
6 sacks by that Hamilton defensive unit tonight. Well, the Stampeders played as well as I think they can play. They gave it a full shot. They certainly didn't lie down. As Wayne Lee isn't trying to pick up any yardage. He just wants to make sure that he hangs on to the football. But let's give some credit to the Stampeders. You know, they did a pretty good job defensively. They were horrible offensively, but they certainly hung in there defensively, and they played tough, and they didn't quit.
Well, it's always been the trademark of the Calgary Stampeders ever since I can remember, coming into the CFL. Good defense and very suspect offense. Well, the fans are appreciative. They're on their feet. They're giving the Ticats a good ovation. They know that they'll be able to come and watch another football game at Ivor Wynne this year.
Johnny Shepard, the ball carrier, takes it to the 46-yard line, which is the pickup of just a couple of yards, but all that is really irrelevant at this point because with just 26 seconds left, the Ticats are going to be the 1985 Eastern Conference champions, and they're going to do it by playing 500 football, 8 wins and 8 losses.
So this means 2 weeks from tomorrow, you and I and Bill will be back here in Hamilton, and we'll bring you that Eastern final. It'll be the Ticats and either the Ottawa Rough Riders or the Montreal Concords.
And that'll be decided tomorrow because Montreal, with a victory against Edmonton tomorrow or a tie, would end up in second spot in the Eastern Conference. Otherwise, Ottawa will host the semifinal. The Hamilton Ticats are going to win the Eastern Conference Championship. This will be the final play of the game. Ticats drop Tony Champion way back in case anything happened to the ball. Ken Hobart takes the pass from center, goes down on one knee, and that's it. The Hamilton Tiger Cats, 1985 Eastern Conference champions by virtue of their 21-17 victory over the Calgary Stampeders here this evening. A ball game that was certainly marred because of the weather conditions. It rained throughout the entire ball game. But hats off to the Ticats, hats off to their fans who sat through a real downpour for the last 3 hours. The Hamilton Ticats win their 6th game in their last 7 outings. They'll be off next week as the Ottawa Rough Riders and the Montreal Concords will battle it out to see who moves to the Eastern Final to be played here at Ivor Wynne Stadium. And as Leaf pointed out, that will come 2 weeks from tomorrow. Bill, Leaf, and I will be on hand to bring you that game. Just a reminder that next Sunday, the Western Conference semifinal will take place, and our Western